Chapter 384. The longevity fruit was a legendary supreme sacred medicine, nurtured by the heavens and earth. It could increase one's lifespan, rebirth one's body, and return one's youth. There were many legends about the longevity fruit in ancient times. It was said that an old man chopped firewood in the mountains and ate a strange fruit, ascending to immortality with great abilities. The strange fruit here referred to the longevity fruit. But many people did not know that although the longevity fruit was incomparably precious, a supreme sacred medicine, the place where it grew was extremely harsh. It absorbed the flesh and blood of 10,000 creatures or the corpses of gods, nurtured in a land of fortune. In ancient times, there was once a giant demon that wreaked havoc in the world, slaughtering millions of creatures for the sake of nurturing the longevity fruit, changing one's fate and increasing one's lifespan. The longevity fruit was a supreme longevity fruit, a divine medicine that surpassed sacred medicines. It could increase one's lifespan by 10,000 years. Supreme experts had a lifespan of 10,000 years, but once their lifespan was exhausted, they would turn to dust. A supreme longevity fruit could extend a supreme's lifespan by 10,000 years. Therefore, one could imagine how precious the longevity fruit was. It really is the longevity fruit. But it's not mature yet. It can only be considered a sacred medicine, at most 1,000 years. It's still a little short of the longevity fruit that can extend one's lifespan by 10,000 years. The old goat's eyes were shining. He walked around the ancient blood-colored tree, almost drooling. Without a doubt, this longevity fruit was extremely beneficial to the old goat's Tao injury. Buzz! A mysterious halo rose from the ancient blood-colored tree. It was dazzling, and yin and yang qi flowed, enveloping the ancient tree. The great yin-yang boundary? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He immediately recognized that the boundary around the longevity fruit tree was left behind by Shangguan Ming. Runes of the boundary spread out and emitted a dangerous fluctuation. It was impossible to see it if one was not close enough. Only when one was close enough would one be able to notice it. Furthermore, it contained a lethal force that could kill even a noble plane cultivator. Using the flesh and blood of otherworldly demons to nourish the longevity fruit tree? Shangguan, oh Shangguan, this is truly a great gift. A hint of sorrow appeared in Ling Zhao's eyes. He lightly walked up to the longevity fruit tree. The originally incomparably powerful boundary actually shattered in an instant, sparkling and resplendent, sprinkling down a rain of light. Brat, that old fellow Shangguan Ming actually left a method to break the barrier on your body? Even if the old man is dead, he is still loyal to your master. The old goat's eyes revealed a trace of emotion as he slowly said. However, when the old goat's gaze fell on the longevity fruit tree, he frowned slightly. The longevity fruit tree was cultivated with extraterrestrial demons as nourishment, but it lacks a trace of the heavenly Tao's power of creation. It's congenitally deficient. No wonder it could only become a saint medicine after 10,000 years and not a divine medicine. A sliver of pity appeared in the old goat's eyes. If it were a longevity fruit that could extend his life by 10,000 years and contained complete laws of the heavenly way, he would probably be able to recover his cultivation as a sovereign instantly if he ate it. However, the old goat also knew that this was wishful thinking. The moment the longevity fruit transformed into a divine medicine, it would only leave behind 2 or 3 fruits at most. It was impossible for it to be like now, where there were 30 longevity fruits. All right, everyone who sees the treasure has a share. Although this longevity fruit can only extend your lifespan by 1,000 years, it can still be considered a supreme divine medicine. It can allow you to be reborn and increase your cultivation. It can be said that these longevity fruits are our greatest harvest on this trip. Ling Zhao looked at the moon goddess and phoenix maiden and smiled. Although the longevity fruit is precious, I have enough lifespan now. I don't need it at all. Ling Zhao, you can keep it for yourself. Although Phoenix Maiden was also very tempted, she still shook her head and refused. I don't need it either. I already owe you a big favor for being able to obtain the Sun Moon Star Scripture inheritance on this trip. These longevity fruits are useless to me. The moon goddess smiled faintly. Although the longevity fruit was precious, She had a cold personality and also shook her head and refused. They don't want it, but I do. Brat, as long as this emperor swallows all of these longevity fruits, this emperor will be able to recover at least 10% of his cultivation. At that time, this emperor will bring you to slaughter gods and Buddhas, conquering the world. The old goat couldn't wait any longer. His eyes were red as he ran toward the longevity tree. Don't even think about it. Ling Xiao jumped in fright. This old fellow had never let go of treasures without seeing them. If the longevity fruit tree fell into the old goat's hands, it would definitely be the longevity fruit smashing the goat. Ling Xiao grabbed one of the old goat's hooves and flung him away. Then, he put the longevity fruit tree into his longevity ring. Ling Xiao, return my longevity fruit. I'll fight it out with you. The old goat was furious. His eyes turned green as he pounced at Ling Xiao, opening his mouth to bite. Old goat, let go of me. Are you a dog? Ling Xiao was caught off guard by the old goat's bite. He immediately sucked in a breath of cold air and grimaced in pain. This old bastard's teeth were actually sharper than a Dao artifact. Even Ling Xiao's tough body couldn't withstand it. The old goat refused to let go. It was as if Ling Xiao had snatched his lifeblood. If he didn't hand over the longevity fruit, he would fight to the death with Ling Xiao. The moon goddess and the phoenix maiden looked at each other as they watched the man and the sheep fight. Their white foreheads were full of black lines. Something's not right. Suddenly, the old goat let go of Ling Xiao. His ears perked up and his eyes flashed. Let's go. Someone's coming, and it's a noble realm expert. There was a trace of seriousness in the old goat's voice. A noble realm expert could only be the masters of the martial Dao Holy Lands. Although the old goat had recovered some of his strength, he didn't dare to challenge the masters of the Holy Lands. Let's go. Ling Xiao made a prompt decision and immediately left the valley with the phoenix maiden and moon goddess. He used his extreme speed to rush into the depths of the longevity secret territory. Although the old goat was unreliable and his cultivation had dropped greatly, his spiritual sense was still very strong. Ling Xiao believed in this. Less than 15 minutes after Ling Xiao and the others left, a vast and violent aura descended. Black divine light filled the sky as if a demon god had come into being. Nirvana King and Mo Kong stood in the void. When they saw the situation in the valley below, their expressions changed. Mo Kong, where is the longevity fruit tree you mentioned? Why is there nothing here? Nirvana King's eyes darkened as he slowly asked. Sectmaster, I did indeed find a longevity fruit tree here, with a total of 30 longevity fruit, and an incomparably powerful barrier was set up around it. However, I met a powerful sky demon in the valley and fought with it for a long time before I killed it. The longevity fruit tree is clearly in the valley. Sectmaster, look at that deep pit. Chapter 385. King Nirvana's eyes flashed, and he instantly descended to the bottom of the pit. He sensed the faint devilish energy below, and his eyes flickered with strands of icy cold killing intent. Using a celestial demon to nourish the longevity fruit? It really is the aura of the longevity fruit. The tree has just been uprooted, so that person shouldn't have gone far. Let's chase after him. King Nirvana's hand flashed, and he instantly captured a few strands of faint light. He grabbed Mo Kong and chased after the person. Bastard! I want to see who dares to snatch this king's longevity fruit. King Nirvana's eyes blazed with killing intent, and his heart was filled with rage. After Mo Kong told him about the longevity fruit tree, it instantly made him extremely excited. King Nirvana's lifespan was already insufficient, and his life quintessence was weak. So, it was extremely difficult for him to break through to the monarch realm. If he could obtain the longevity fruit, then not only could he be reborn and change his fate, he could even break through to the monarch realm and become the strongest expert in the entire 8 Desolation region. This was an indescribable temptation to him. So, he decided that no matter who dared to take the longevity fruit, that person would die. Experts at the noble realm have the ability to track auras. Let's go this way. The old goat led Ling Xiao and the others through the desolate mountains. They didn't fly through the air, and they plunged into the mountains instead. They changed directions and dashed madly for a few thousand kilometers before leaving the mountain range in the end. We should be safe now. Fortunately, we left quickly. Otherwise, the longevity fruit tree would probably benefit others. A trace of relief appeared in the old goat's eyes. They were already in the depths of the longevity secret realm. There were fewer mountains here, and some lakes and swamps appeared before them. Mist coiled around them, and it seemed quiet and peaceful. However, Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he noticed that many people were heading towards the depths of the longevity secret realm, and all of them seemed to be in a hurry. Brother, why is everyone heading towards the depths of the longevity secret realm? Is there some kind of treasure that has appeared? Ling Zhao grabbed a young man at the Grandmaster realm and asked. The young man was impatient, and a trace of anger appeared on his face. He was just about to flare up when he saw Moon Goddess and Phoenix Maiden from the corner of his eye, and his eyes instantly widened. When he looked at Ling Zhao again, his heart instantly shuddered, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Zhao. The young man's voice was trembling. You recognize me? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. This young man in the Supreme Power realm actually recognized him, which gave him a bad feeling. I don't know him. I've only heard of your reputation, young Master Ling. The young man's eyes flickered and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He was obviously lying. I hate liars. Speak, why do you know me? Ling Zhao's eyes darkened, and he exerted a little force in his hand. The young man let out a blood-curdling scream, feeling as if his arm was about to be crushed by Ling Zhao. His entire body was drenched in cold sweat. Young Master Ling, please spare my life. I'll tell you everything. The young man's eyes were filled with pain as he begged for mercy. However, his following words caused Ling Zhao's expression to change drastically. His gaze became incomparably cold, and his killing intent blazed. That young man recounted how Ling Zhao had jumped into the illusory demon ancient tree pit, how Mo Kong and the Divine Radiance Crown Prince had announced that Ling Zhao had lost his mind due to the illusory demon ancient tree, how he had killed countless experts, and how the Terminator demon sect and the Great Flood ancient country had simultaneously issued a bounty. The old goat and phoenix woman's eyes flickered, and they were instantly enraged. That bastard Mo Kong is truly shameless. They were clearly the ones who had lost their minds due to the illusory demon ancient tree, and now they're blaming it on Ling Zhao? Truly a despicable and shameless person. Phoenix Woman was filled with righteous indignation. These demonic cultivators were truly treacherous. If it wasn't for Ling Zhao breaking the illusion of the illusory demon ancient tree, all of them would have died. Not only were they not grateful, they were even slandering Ling Zhao everywhere. This emperor has lived for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen such a bastard. Ling Zhao, when this emperor sees him again, I'll definitely help you slaughter him. This emperor is truly angered to death. The old goat's eyes flickered as he spoke furiously. Mo Kong deserves to die. However, if any of my longevity sect's disciples were to meet with an accident, I'll make the entire Terminator demon sect pay with their lives. Ling Zhao's expression was very calm, but his eyes were extremely cold. Those who understood Ling Zhao knew that this was the expression of Ling Zhao's extreme anger. Mo Kong had completely crossed Ling Zhao's bottom line, and he had become a must-kill in Ling Zhao's heart. The young man secretly cursed. The Terminator demon sect was a martial holy land with the Terminator king overseeing it. Ling Zhao actually dared to say that he would make the entire Terminator demon sect pay with their lives. What shameless boasting! However, he naturally didn't dare to say this out loud. He lowered his head very low. Ling Zhao? That's right, it's Ling Zhao. He looks exactly the same as the portrait that Lord Mo Kong passed down. Didn't he die at the hands of the illusory demon ancient tree? How did he come back to life? Ling Zhao has harmed so many of our sect's people. Everyone, let's attack together and kill him. Make him pay with his life. Many cultivators in the distance also noticed Ling Zhao. Immediately, their eyes were filled with disbelief and shock, and then they became incomparably furious. In their eyes, Ling Zhao was the main culprit who caused the deaths of their sect's experts. Lord Mo Kong said that killing Nangong Xian would give us 1,000,000 spirit crystals. If we kill Ling Xiao, we might be directly accepted as disciples of the Terminator Demon sect. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can't miss it. There were also many people who revealed incomparable greed in their eyes. It was as if they saw Ling Xiao as a stepping stone and wanted to kill Ling Xiao to prove their loyalty to the Terminator Demon sect. Many cultivators surrounded Ling Xiao and the others. Each of them revealed a cold, murderous intent and emitted an incomparably powerful aura. Although most of them were experts in the Grandmaster realm, there were also many in the Celestial realm. This gave them a lot of confidence. No matter how strong Ling Xiao's combat strength was, it was impossible for him to be a match for so many people. Everyone, you have all been deceived by Mo Kong. It wasn't Ling Xiao who killed those experts. It was that the illusory demon ancient tree was too strong. The power of the illusion it released confused everyone. In order to escape, Mo Kong deliberately slandered Ling Xiao. Phoenix Maiden stood up and told everyone what happened at the illusory demon ancient tree. Phoenix Maiden of the Myriad Beasts sect? Phoenix Maiden, don't be deceived by Ling Xiao. He's just a brat in the Grandmaster realm. How could he break the power of the illusory demon ancient tree's illusion? Who are you trying to fool? Some people recognized Phoenix Maiden, and their eyes were filled with shock. Especially when they saw Moon Goddess standing behind Ling Xiao, they were even more incredulous. Phoenix Maiden and Moon Goddess were known as the two beauties of the 8 Desolates region. Not only were their appearances peerless, but their martial talent was also superb. They were the targets of admiration in the hearts of countless young cultivators. Chapter 386. That's right. Lady Phoenix, Lady Moon Goddess, you must have been deceived by Ling Xiao. Don't worry, we'll only kill Ling Xiao this time. We won't do anything to you. Only kill Ling Xiao. Many warriors shouted with righteous indignation as they looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of greed and murderous intent. Many people had already guessed that Ling Xiao was just a disciple of a small sect. The reason why he could rise up in such a short time and become the center of attention in the entire 8 Desolates region was because Ling Xiao had the inheritance of a supreme expert. If they could kill Ling Xiao and obtain his inheritance, it would definitely be an unimaginable treasure. Everyone had this idea, but no one said it out loud. The so-called Ling Xiao killing so many experts was just an excuse. Even if Mo Kong was lying, no one would care. They only had one goal, and that was the inheritance on Ling Xiao's body. Facing so many warriors, Ling Xiao's expression was very calm. He only said indifferently, "Let me ask you one question. Did you participate in the pursuit of my Changsun sect's disciples?" Everyone was stunned, then they sneered. "Ling Xiao, you can't even protect yourself. How can you still care about the Changsun sect's disciples? To tell you the truth, the Changsun sect's disciples have already been killed by us. We took them to Mo Kong to receive the reward." A middle-aged man with a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks sneered. He was the leader of a small sect. He seemed to be at the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm. He was also the one who jumped the happiest below. "Very good. Since that's the case, there's no need for you to live." Ling Xiao smiled faintly, but his eyes were incomparably cold. Boom! He instantly attacked, punching towards the middle-aged man with a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks. The golden fist radiance was incomparably blazing, like a rising sun. "Ling Xiao, you're courting death." Everyone was furious. Ling Xiao was about to die, but he still dared to attack them. Could it be that he really thought that he could defeat everyone with his own strength? There were as many as several hundred martial artists here, and there were even several dozen heaven-tier elites. Each of them could smash Ling Xiao into smithereens with a single punch. However, the middle-aged man with a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks couldn't make a sound. His eyes were filled with fear. Ling Xiao's punch gave him too much pressure. Ling Xiao appeared in front of him in an instant. He stretched out his hand to block, but his arm was instantly shattered by Ling Xiao, exploding into a bloody mist. Accompanied by a blood-curdling scream, Ling Xiao's fist landed on his chest. The middle-aged man with the protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks screamed again and again. His chest caved in, and Ling Xiao blasted a huge hole in his heart. He died instantly. Let's go together and kill him. Kill! Not only did Ling Xiao's killing of the middle-aged man not intimidate the crowd, but it also aroused the killing intent in their hearts. They all revealed a cold look and used their powerful martial arts to attack Ling Xiao. Very well, since you can't wait to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and the golden light around him seemed to have transformed into unparalleled sword radiance that instantly shot out in all directions. A dragon's roar filled the sky, and Ling Xiao's entire body was surging with blood qi. He stomped his foot, and the ground rumbled. He was like a violent dragon that charged towards the crowd. Those spiritual long swords, battle sabers, long spears, and giant hammers were all smashed into pieces by Ling Xiao, exploding in the void. Countless golden sword radiance swept across, and immediately, a large number of warriors screamed and fell to the ground. Phoenix Maiden and Yueshan wanted to go forward to help, but they were stopped by Old Goat. Let him vent. These bastards are no match for him. Boom. A burly man of the celestial realm attacked from behind with a mace in his hand. The black mace contained monstrous killing intent, and he wanted to smash Ling Xiao's head. Ling Xiao didn't even look at him and directly blasted out a punch. A golden dragon soared into the sky and directly shattered the mace. At the same time, Ling Xiao kicked out and golden light filled the air. Unparalleled divine power erupted, and the burly man of the celestial realm directly exploded in the void. More than a dozen experts of the Grandmaster realm from a small sect held spiritual longswords in their hands, and tried to form a sword array to deal with Ling Xiao. More than a dozen longswords shot out with unparalleled sharpness. However, Ling Xiao only slapped out a palm, and a golden sky-devouring vortex appeared, instantly sucking in those longswords, and shooting them back at an even faster speed, killing all those people. Ling Xiao was like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Every time he attacked, a large amount of blood would be spilled. Countless warriors were killed by Ling Xiao as if he was cutting melons and vegetables. In just a moment, more than 100 warriors were killed by Ling Xiao, and there was no lack of experts of the Grandmaster realm and Celestial realm among them. Is he still human? How can Ling Xiao be so strong? Everyone's voice was trembling, and they were awakened by Ling Xiao's killing. At this time, they suddenly realized that Ling Xiao was not someone who could be defeated by numbers. The experts of the Grandmaster realm were no match for him at all. Even the experts of the Celestial realm were killed by him. Ling Xiao, you have fallen into the devil's path by wantonly slaughtering your comrades. Why don't you surrender? This old man will enforce justice on behalf of the heavens today. An old man of the 7th level of the Celestial realm was the strongest among the crowd. He was dressed in a white robe, and his hair and beard were white. He was hale and hearty, but his eyes were full of greed and killing intent when he looked at Ling Xiao. It's spiritual master Xiaoyang? Ling Xiao is dead for sure this time. Someone's eyes flashed as he recognized the old man, and immediately cheered. Spiritual master Xiaoyang was a rogue cultivator with an extremely strong cultivation. Moreover, he was ruthless and merciless. With him taking action, Ling Xiao would definitely die. Spiritual Master Xiaoyang once fought to a draw with an expert of the 9th level of the Celestial Realm. The power of his Astral Yang Sky Blade technique is unparalleled. Spiritual Master Xiaoyang subdued the devil and killed this devil for us. Everyone was scared out of their wits by Ling Xiao. The moment Spiritual Master Xiaoyang appeared, they immediately saw hope and shouted excitedly. Everyone, don't worry. Ling Xiao deserves to die. I will definitely seek justice for everyone. Spiritual Master Xiaoyang smiled faintly. He looked like an immortal and immediately made people feel reverence. Where did this old thing come from? You dare to pretend in front of me? A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, and he threw a punch at Spiritual Master Xiaoyang. His unparalleled chi and blood seemed to have turned into a golden dragon that soared through the sky and pounced over. Evil creature, you're courting death. Spiritual Master Xiao Yang's eyes flashed, and the horsetail whisk in his hand pointed out. Countless silk threads like white light instantly entangled Ling Xiao's punch, and the chi and blood true dragon shattered. A clear dragon's roar spread out from Ling Xiao's palm. At the same time, 4 resplendent divine lights came across the sky, transforming into the power of earth, water, wind, and fire. 4 elephants sky striking style. Chapter 387. Ling Xiao, how dare you behave so atrociously in front of me with your puny cultivation? Spiritual Master Xiao Yang held the golden saber in his hand. His eyes were filled with terrifying saber radiance, and his body was surrounded by blazing saber aura. However, in the next moment, his expression changed. The divine light that he had slashed turned into a chaotic mist. The power of the 5 elements was born from it. It instantly separated into a boundary that enveloped him. 4 images, 5 elements sky ceiling style. Die, old man. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold. He could only feel his heart was filled with anger and killing intent. He needed to vent his anger through killing. These people in front of him didn't know what was good for them. They even wanted to attack the disciples of the Changsun sect. In Ling Xiao's eyes, they were all dead. The so-called spiritual master Xiao Yang didn't pose any threat to Ling Xiao. Once the 5-element sky ceiling style was used, the heaven and earth energy around spiritual master Xiao Yang was instantly taken away. What? Spiritual Master Xiao Yang's expression changed drastically. However, Ling Xiao had already charged over. His palms spat out blazing saber radiance and slashed towards his neck. The golden saber in Spiritual Master Xiao Yang's hand blocked it, but it was instantly shattered by Ling Xiao's palm. At the same time, a huge bloody wound was left on his chest. Spiritual Master Xiao Yang felt a cold killing intent. At this moment, he knew how terrifying Ling Xiao was. Even if he was at the 7th level of the Sky Human Realm, he was no match for Ling Xiao. Young Master Ling, please spare my life. I'm willing to be your slave. Spiritual Master Xiao Yang's eyes were filled with pleading. He was finally afraid. It's too late. Ling Xiao's expression was cold. A dazzling sword radiance slashed across the sky. Spiritual Master Xiao Yang's huge head flew up into the sky. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and regret. Spiritual Master Xiao Yang was killed by Ling Xiao? Many martial artists were stunned. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. In their hearts, Spiritual Master Xiao Yang was already an unparalleled expert below the noble realm. However, he was killed by Ling Xiao. Many people began to tremble. Their faces were pale. Ling Xiao, who was in the void, was dressed in white. Golden clouds surrounded him. However, his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. It made them tremble. They felt that they were being targeted by a killing intent. Run! Let's go! This fiend has turned into a demon. The death of Reverend Xiao Yang had completely shattered the fighting spirit in their hearts. All of them began to frantically flee in all directions, afraid that they would not be able to grow an extra leg. Rumble! Bright golden light rose from Ling Xiao's body like a golden ocean. In an instant, it split into countless rays of sword radiance and shot down from all directions. Countless experts had their bodies pierced through, and miserable shrieks rang out from below. All of them had died at Ling Xiao's hands. Even the Phoenix Maiden couldn't bear it. She opened her mouth, wanting to persuade him, but in the end, she didn't say anything. Although these people looked pitiful, they deserved to die. A thick stench of blood permeated the air. Blood flowed like a river on the ground. Hundreds of venerables had died at Ling Xiao's hands without exception. This place was like Azura hell. Ling Xiao's entire body was filled with killing intent as he slowly walked down from the sky. Let's go! Ling Xiao said indifferently. Where are we going? Phoenix Maiden was slightly taken aback. Kill Mo Kong. Ling Xiao said expressionlessly. In an instant, he turned into a ray of golden light and shot into the distance. Strange, this kid is becoming more and more like him when he's angry. Could it be that the master's personality has been passed on to his disciple? The old goat looked at Ling Xiao's back with a trace of doubt in his eyes. He shook his head and followed Ling Xiao. The news that Ling Xiao was not dead instantly caused an uproar in the entire mystery land of longevity. Especially when Ling Xiao had killed hundreds of venerables, causing blood to flow like a river. It was like a Jura hell. Blood dyed the ground red, shocking countless people. Didn't Lord Mo Kong say that Ling Xiao died at the hands of the illusory demonic ancient tree? How did he come back to life? Some people were shocked, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. The illusory demonic ancient tree was terrifying. Even a saint landlord had once said that it was invincible in the noble realm. No matter how demonic Ling Xiao was, it was impossible for him to escape from the illusory demonic ancient tree. Now, Ling Xiao had actually appeared in front of everyone alive and started a massacre. Ling Xiao has become a demon. He has killed countless venerables. Everyone has the right to kill him. The great Hong Ancient Kingdom's Xinjiao Crown Prince released the news, calling for all venerables in the Mystery Land to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao killed hundreds of venerables? Could it be a rumor? I heard that Ling Xiao's cultivation is only at the Grandmaster realm. I also feel that it's not true. I heard that even Xiao Yang's spiritual master died at Ling Xiao's hands. However, Xiao Yang's spiritual master once fought to a draw with a level 9 celestial realm expert. The Gang Yang heavenly saber technique is unparalleled. If he wants to kill Ling Xiao will die without a doubt. I think someone wants to fish in troubled waters and spread fake news. Some people were skeptical. After all, the rumor was too frightening. Killing hundreds of venerables by himself, and there were many celestial realm experts among them. Even the sun god and the dragon son might not be able to do it. However, Mo Kong stood out and confirmed the rumor. Ling Xiao is indeed not dead. However, he has been bewitched by the illusory demonic ancient tree and has become a demon who only knows how to kill. Anyone who can tell us Ling Xiao's exact whereabouts can become a true disciple of the Terminator demon sect. After Mo Kong's words spread, all the cultivators in the longevity secret realm were in an uproar. It turned out that the rumor was true. Ling Xiao had really killed hundreds of venerables. However, the reason why he was so terrifying was because he had been bewitched by the illusory demonic ancient tree. Immediately, some cultivators who were not afraid of death began to search for Ling Xiao's whereabouts. You think Ling Xiao took the longevity fruit tree? On a mountain peak in the depths of the secret realm, the Terminator King looked at Mo Kong and said indifferently, "It should be him." The longevity fruit tree was cultivated with extraterrestrial demons as nourishment. It is not far from the illusory demonic ancient tree. If Ling Xiao is not dead, it is very likely that it is him. When the sect master sees him and checks his aura, the truth will be revealed. Mo Kong's eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. He did not expect that Ling Xiao was still alive. Thinking of the humiliation he had suffered at the illusory demonic ancient tree, Mo Kong wished he could tear Ling Xiao into pieces. Don't worry. Whether he has the longevity fruit tree or not, he is dead for sure. The Terminator King said coldly, "Sect Master, the real longevity treasury has not been found yet?" Mo Kong looked at the mysterious lake in front of him and asked, "The real longevity's treasury should be at the center of this lake. We've captured everyone from the longevity sect and found traces of the longevity's treasury with their blood essence. It won't be long before the real longevity's treasury opens." Chapter 388. The longevity's treasury was the legacy of the number 1 sanctuary 10,000 years ago. Compared to the longevity sect, the 5 sanctuaries of the 8 desolates region were like fireflies that could not compete with the light of the moon. One could imagine that there were countless treasures in the longevity's treasury. The people from the longevity sect? Sect leader, if you capture Ling Xiao, I hope you can hand him and all the people from the longevity sect over to me. Mo Kong's eyes revealed a trace of malice. He had decided that he would torture all the people from the longevity sect to death in front of Ling Xiao. Whenever he thought of Ling Xiao's angry and helpless look, His heart was filled with an inexplicable pleasure. I can hand Ling Xiao over to you, but I'm afraid not the people from the Longevity sect. The Jade Lake King has already protected them. Nirvana King said flatly. Jade Lake King? The original Jade Lake Saintess, Ji Feishuan? What's her relationship with the Longevity sect? Mo Kong's eyes flashed and revealed a trace of doubt. I'm not sure. However, the Jade Lake King has already made up her mind to protect the people from the Longevity sect. I can't fall out with her. Mo Kong said with some dissatisfaction. Sect leader, Ji Feishuan has only advanced to the noble stage a few months ago. It can be said that the Jade Lake sect is now the weakest among the sanctuaries. Why are you afraid of her? I heard that Ji Feishuan is peerless and her appearance is not inferior to the Moon Goddess and Phoenix Lady. If you capture her, wouldn't it be equivalent to swallowing the Jade Lake sect? At the end of his words, Mo Kong's eyes revealed a trace of lust. Don't underestimate Ji Feishuan. Although she has just advanced to the noble stage, she has cultivated the upper heaven-level martial art, Purple Heaven Godly Sword technique. She also has the Jade Lake sect's ultimate treasure, the Purple Heaven Godly Sword. In terms of combat power, she is definitely not weaker than me. Nirvana King's eyes revealed a trace of surprise as he spoke slowly. She's that strong? Mo Kong frowned. If Ji Feishuan was determined to protect the people from the Longevity sect, wouldn't his plan fall through? Boom. At this moment, a huge thunderbolt exploded in the void. Bright light scattered all over the sky. It was as if a god had descended to the world, exuding a vast aura. In the center of the huge lake, raging waves beat against the shore. Huge waves swept in all directions, and an incomparably huge whirlpool appeared. Then, mysterious runes rose up, and strands of divine chains of order crossed the sky. In the center of the lake, a huge palace appeared. The palace was surrounded by seven-colored light, as if it was supported by auspicious clouds. It floated in the void, and the mysterious symbols were incomparably bright, as if they were the principles of the great Tao, indescribably wonderful. At the top of the palace, there were 4 large words engraved in flamboyant calligraphy. Longevity Heavenly Palace. In the face of the Longevity Heavenly Palace, both Mo Kong and the Nirvana Monarch felt insignificant before the Heavenly Palace. The Longevity Heavenly Palace has appeared? King of Nirvana shuddered. His eyes were filled with excitement. He leaped up and flew toward the lake below. This is the Longevity Heavenly Palace? As long as I obtain the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme, no matter if it's Ling Xiao or the sun god, I'll kill them all. Mo Kong's body trembled with excitement, and his eyes burned with passion. The Longevity sect from 10,000 years ago was a legend that had lasted for countless years. The legends of the Longevity sect, the sky-devouring supreme, and the Longevity sect had been circulating in the 8 Desolates region for countless years. Only when the Longevity Secret Realm opened and the Longevity Heavenly Palace appeared did everyone realize that it was not a legend. The Longevity Heavenly Palace had appeared before everyone's eyes. Rumble. Around the Longevity Heavenly Palace, blazing lightning flashed like a sea of lightning, exuding a tyrannical and destructive aura. The vast wave of energy instantly spread across the entire Longevity Secret Realm. Instantly, countless people were stirred up, and they rushed madly into the depths of the Longevity Secret Realm. The Longevity Heavenly Palace has opened? Ling Xiao, who was traversing through the mountain range, suddenly raised his head. His eyes shone brightly as he felt the mysterious and powerful aura. The Longevity Heavenly Palace? Could it be the real Longevity Treasure Vault? The Phoenix woman's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of shock. That's right. The Longevity Heavenly Palace is the core of the Longevity Secret Realm. Let's go! Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. The Longevity Heavenly Palace was originally sealed in the Ruoshui Lake. Only the blood essence of the Longevity sect's disciples and the Longevity sect's martial arts could unlock the seal. Now that the Longevity Heavenly Palace had opened, it meant that someone knew the way to open it. Furthermore, with the blood essence of the Longevity sect's disciples, the Longevity Heavenly Palace had been opened. Among the 5 great martial holy lands, no one else has this ability. I'm afraid only the Sun Moon sect knows the way to open the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Very good, Lord Yin Yang, you've successfully aroused my killing intent. Ling Zhao's heart was filled with rage. He wanted to kill the Lord Yin Yang. Ling Xiao, the Longevity Heavenly Palace was left behind by your master and his wife. How can we let those bastards taint it? I'll take you there. Whoever dares to be impudent, will kill them all. The old goat sneered. Black light flashed in his eyes as if he wanted to devour everything. The atmosphere was extremely tense. The moon goddess and the phoenix woman seemed to know Ling Zhao's anger. They remained silent and followed Ling Xiao in the direction of the Longevity Heavenly Palace. The Ruoshui Lake stretched for thousands of miles. Rather than calling it a lake, it was more like an inland sea. It stretched as far as the eye could see and was majestic. At this moment, a huge Longevity Heavenly Palace floated above the Ruoshui Lake. Blazing purple heavenly lightning flashed, emitting a majestic aura. The lords of the Yin Yang Lord, the Nirvana Lord, the Jade Lake Lord, the Black Dragon Lord, and the Lord of the Underworld stood beside the Ruoshui Lake, emitting a powerful aura. Behind them were the elders and genius disciples of the 5 great sacred lands. They were all looking at the Longevity Heavenly Palace with excitement. Countless experts were rushing over. The appearance of the Longevity Heavenly Palace had made everyone in the Longevity Secret Territory excited. The Longevity Heavenly Palace might contain countless treasures left behind by the Longevity sect 10,000 years ago. More importantly, it might contain the inheritance of the Sky-Devouring Supreme and the Longevity Supreme. Everyone was waiting for the Longevity Heavenly Palace to open completely. Although the lords of the sacred lands had unsealed the Longevity Heavenly Palace and released it from the Ruoshui Lake, there was a layer of purple heavenly lightning outside the Ruoshui Lake. However, there was a layer of purple heavenly lightning outside the Longevity Heavenly Palace. They would only be able to enter after the purple heavenly lightning had completely dissipated. Brother Yin Yang, how long will it take for the purple heavenly lightning to dissipate? The Black Dragon Lord looked at the lords of the Yin Yang Lord and asked. It should be soon. In less than 2 hours, we will be able to enter the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Chapter 389. If that's the case, then the Changsun sect is useless, right? In my opinion, we should just kill them. The Nirvana King said indifferently as he glanced at the Jade Lake King. The Jade Lake King, who was also Ji Feishuan, was wearing a white dress. Her body was shrouded in a mysterious light, and her face was covered by a veil. Her temperament was ethereal and otherworldly. Her skin was as clear as jade, and her eyes were as bright as the stars. She stood there quietly with a peerless temperament. However, after hearing the Nirvana King's words, her eyes revealed a trace of coldness as she said, Nirvana King, the Changsun sect is on good terms with me. No one is allowed to touch them. Otherwise, you will be my enemy. Since when did the Jade Lake King have a relationship with some ants? Does the Jade Lake King think that she can go against the 4 great sink grounds by herself? The Nirvana King's eyes were cold, and his expression was ugly. Ji Feishuan's rebuke made him feel embarrassed. Brother Nirvana, what are you saying? I didn't say that I want to be the enemy of the Jade Lake King. After all, the Changsun sect helped us open the Changsun Heavenly Palace. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at if you kill Brother Nirvana? The Yin Yang King smiled faintly. That's right. Some ants can't do anything. Let them stay for now. The Nether King was an old man in a black robe. He held a scepter in his hand, and his entire body was filled with ghostly aura. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his eyes were cold and filled with a deathly aura. His voice was cold, but he didn't agree to kill the Changsun sect's people. The Nirvana King glanced at the Black Dragon King and realized that he didn't say anything. He sneered and said, the Jade Lake King can protect them for now, but she can't protect them forever. The Changsun Heavenly Palace is filled with danger. They might die in the stomach of some demon. Ji Feishuan looked at him coldly and didn't say anything. On the contrary, the Nirvana King felt that he was asking for a snub, and his gaze became colder. He looked at the Changsan sect's disciples behind Ji Feishuan coldly, and a faint killing intent filled his eyes. Don't be afraid, everyone. The saint will definitely come and save us. Everyone from the Changsan sect looked very pale, including Nangong Xian, Nangong Qing, Jian Wuk, and the others. They seemed to have suffered great injuries as they sat in the middle of the Jade Lake sect disciples. Their eyes were filled with anger, but they also felt a deep sense of powerlessness. In order to open the Longevity Heavenly Palace, all of them had their blood essence extracted. Even with Ji Feishuan's protection, when it came to opening the Longevity Heavenly Palace, Ji Feishuan alone was incapable of stopping the four great kings. Li Ling's sword intent was really pure and his gaze was really firm. He told everyone from Changsan sect that they had to believe that Ling Xiao would definitely return. Yes, I also believe that young master will definitely save us. Shui Wei's eyes were resolute. Her face was no longer immature, but sharp. In the secret territory of immortality, she had witnessed the law of the jungle and the deceit between the two sides. Shui Wei had grown up quickly. Don't worry, with my sister here, no one will dare to hurt you. Ji Shuyao smiled faintly at Shui Wei. Her eyes were also filled with anticipation. These days, she had heard many legends about Ling Xiao. Unknowingly, the young man in the Eight Desolations secret territory had already grown to such a level. She was actually looking forward to seeing that young man again. Ling Xiao, you still dare to come here to die? At this moment, killing intent flashed in Mo Kong's eyes as he shouted. From afar, Ling Xiao, Old Goat, Yueshan, and Phoenix Woman came together. They were like four resplendent rays of light as they arrived at the Ruoshui Lake in an instant. Ling Xiao is here? It's really Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao's arrival caused a commotion in the crowd. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao in shock. He actually dared to come here? Many cultivators' eyes were filled with enmity. After all, under Mo Kong's influence, Ling Xiao had become a great devil who did all kinds of evil. The sun god, who was standing behind the lords of Yin Yang, also had a burning killing intent in his eyes when he saw Ling Xiao. If it weren't for Ling Xiao, he would have already obtained the inheritance of the sun and moon star scripture. Therefore, his hatred for Ling Xiao was no less than Mo Kong's. Ling Xiao seemed to be oblivious to everyone's gazes. Instead, he went directly to the Jade Lake sect disciples. Seeing that Nangong Xian and the rest were safe, he heaved a sigh of relief. Sect Master, I've implicated you. Ling Xiao said softly as he looked at Ji Shuiyao with gratitude in his eyes. Young Master, you're fine. I knew you were fine. That's great. Shui Wei's entire body was trembling. Her eyes were filled with emotions. Although she had always believed that Ling Xiao was fine and would definitely return, she still couldn't help but cry when she saw Ling Xiao at this moment. She threw herself into Ling Xiao's embrace. Shui Wei, be good. I'm fine. Ling Xiao rubbed Shui Wei's head lovingly. Ji Feishuan glanced at Ling Xiao from afar. Her eyes revealed a faint splendor. Ling Xiao seemed to have sensed it. He raised his head and looked at her with gratitude. The reason why the people from the Changsan sect were safe and sound was definitely because they were protected by Ji Feishuan. Otherwise, they would have died at the hands of Mo Kong or the sun god. Ling Xiao was indebted to her. Ling Xiao, you're really courting death. There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. You used the illusory demonic ancient tree to kill countless cultivators. Don't you feel guilty at all? Today, I'm going to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and kill a demon like you. Mo Kong's powerful aura filled the air. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Moreover, a piece of jade in his hand began to emit a blazing light. The longevity fruit tree had been taken by someone else. The Nirvana King had gathered a few auras and merged them into this piece of jade. As long as it encountered the person who stole the longevity fruit tree, the jade would shine. Obviously, it was Ling Xiao who stole the longevity fruit tree. Mo Kong was incomparably excited. As long as he killed Ling Xiao and stole his storage ring, the longevity fruit tree would belong to the Nirvana demon sect. Where did this wild dog come from? Barking here. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said indifferently. Ling Xiao, you're courting death. Mo Kong's face revealed a trace of malevolence. His gaze became incomparably gloomy. Ling Xiao, why aren't you surrendering? When Lord Mo Kong makes his move, you'll die without a doubt. Ling Xiao is a great demon who commits all kinds of evil. Everyone has the right to kill him. Why don't we attack together and kill him? Ling Xiao, you killed my sect's great elder. Hand over your life. The disciples of the Nirvana demon sect jumped out and pointed at Ling Xiao as they cursed. Chapter 390. Now that Mo Kong had jumped out to cause trouble, they naturally wouldn't let go of this opportunity to beat a drowning dog. They all pointed at Ling Xiao and scolded him. Everyone, I can testify that those people died at the hands of the illusory fiend Ancient Tree. It has nothing to do with Ling Xiao. Phoenix Maiden's eyes revealed a trace of anger. She stood out to support Ling Xiao and recounted what had happened at the illusory fiend Ancient Tree. Phoenix Maiden, you must have been bewitched by Ling Xiao. I advise you to stay away from him. Otherwise, be careful not to get yourself killed. Mo Kong gritted his teeth as he looked at Phoenix Maiden. The more Phoenix Maiden defended Ling Xiao, the angrier he became. Mo Kong, you despicable person. You're clearly confusing right and wrong and biting the hand that feeds you. If Ling Xiao hadn't broken the illusory realm of the illusory fiend Ancient Tree, you would have been killed by the illusory fiend Ancient Tree. How dare you frame Ling Xiao here? Phoenix Maiden looked at Mo Kong with disdain, her eyes filled with disgust. A despicable person is a despicable person. What's there to say to him? Such a despicable and shameless person, just kill him. The old goat sneered as he glanced at Mo Kong from the corner of his eyes. Bastard, I'm talking to your master. What right do you have to speak? Mo Kong's eyes revealed a trace of anger. Even old goat dared to point at him and scold him. He was instantly enraged and wished he could kill old goat. Mo Kong, you little bastard, get out here if you dare. I'll kill you. Old goat said disdainfully. Don't be arrogant. Even the heavenly emperor can't save you today. I'll make you kneel before me and beg for mercy later. Mo Kong's face was filled with malevolence and resentment. However, he was incomparably sullen in his heart. Whether it was Ling Xiao or old goat, they weren't to be trifled with. In the battle with the illusory fiend Ancient Tree, even though Mo Kong was unwilling to admit it, he knew that he was no match for Ling Xiao and old goat. Sect Master, Ling Xiao is the one who stole the longevity Ancient Tree. Mo Kong transmitted his voice to King of Nirvana. His voice was filled with monstrous killing intent. What? Nirvana King's eyes flashed. Originally, he didn't want to complicate matters. Entering the longevity heavenly palace to snatch the inheritance was the most important thing. However, the importance of the longevity fruit tree was no less than that of the heavenly palace. Since they were certain that it was in Ling Xiao's hands, they might as well seize the opportunity to capture this brat. Ling Xiao, do you know your crime? A black beam of light shot out of his eyes and landed on Ling Xiao. It emitted a powerful spiritual ripple. Ling Xiao's expression was very calm. He glanced at Nirvana King and said, "Oh? What crime have I committed?" You were bewitched by the illusory demon Ancient Tree and ordered countless cultivators to be killed by the illusory demon Ancient Tree. You alone have implicated countless others, but you do not repent. So many fellow Taoists tried to reason with you, but not only did you not feel the slightest bit of guilt, you even killed hundreds of venerable cultivators. That was the second sin you committed. Now that the masters of the 5 great martial Tao Holy Lands are here, not only do you refuse to plead guilty, you even try to quibble and confuse right and wrong. This is the third crime. Ling Xiao, you have committed these 3 great crimes, and your crimes are unforgivable. Why don't you kneel down and admit your crimes? Nirvana King's voice seemed to contain the sound of thunder. He urged it with his powerful spiritual force, and a vast kingly aura spread out. He wanted to use the momentum to force Ling Xiao to kneel down. The surrounding people felt their blood boil, and their faces turned pale. The might of a king was not something that ordinary people could contend against. However, Ling Xiao did not seem to be affected at all. When that terrifying kingly aura came into contact with Ling Xiao, It was instantly dissolved and dissipated without a trace. What a good 3 great crimes. If you want to condemn someone, why worry about the pretext? Mo Kong said that I was bewitched by the illusory demon ancient tree, and you believed it. Why don't you believe Phoenix Girl's words? Moreover, who do you think you are? Why do I need you to interfere in my life? Ling Xiao stared at Nirvana King. His eyes were clear, and his voice was impassioned. His entire body exuded an unparalleled sharpness, making him look like a peerless divine sword that would rather break than bend. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who was Nirvana King? He was a peerless expert who looked down on the 8 Desolates region. He was the master of the Nirvana demon sect. He had killed countless experts in his life, and he was an existence who meant what he said. Nirvana King's words were like an imperial edict. It was an order that no one dared to defy. His words were the law of the heavens, and all laws submitted to him. However, Ling Xiao dared to say who Nirvana King was and even said that Nirvana King was talking too much. Indeed, a newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger. Even peerless geniuses like the Sun God and the Dragon Son did not dare to speak to Nirvana King like this. Where did Ling Xiao's confidence come from? Ling Xiao is dead for sure. How dare he speak to Nirvana King in such a tone? No one can save him. Someone said coldly. He looked at Ling Xiao as if he was looking at a dead man. Nangong Xian and the others also revealed a trace of worry in their eyes. Ling Xiao offending Nirvana King was not a wise choice at all. Good, very good. How many years has it been? Those who dared to speak to me in such a tone are already dead. You are really shameless. Kneel down. Nirvana King was so angry that he laughed. Demonic aura surged from his body as if there were thousands of demons roaring. A scene of destruction appeared behind him. His eyes were extremely cold, and blazing killing intent flickered. It was obvious that he was really angry. Bang! Nirvana King took a step forward, and the void trembled. A vast and majestic demonic aura pressed down on Ling Xiao, trying to make Ling Xiao kneel down. Nirvana King, why are you so angry? Aren't you afraid of losing your dignity by being angry with a young man? A pleasant and ethereal voice sounded. Ji Feishuan stood out. Her clothes fluttered like a fairy. With a wave of her slender finger, a dazzling radiance spread out. It was like the most blazing sword radiance, and it dispersed the demonic aura released by Nirvana King. Jade Lake King, how dare you stop me? Nirvana King's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He did not expect Ji Feishuan to make a move for Ling Xiao. He was in a dilemma. As for the lords of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, and Hades King, they looked as if they were watching a good show. They were all old foxes and no one was willing to get involved. If Nirvana King really fought with Ji Feishuan, it was definitely not a wise choice. After all, the Longevity Heavenly Palace was about to open. If both of them were to suffer, it would only benefit the lords of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, and Hades King. Nirvana King, I will protect Ling Xiao. If you want to touch him, you have to go through me first. Ji Feishuan's voice was extremely cold, but there was an indescribable dominance in it. Jade Lake King, are you sure you want to be my enemy? Nirvana King's eyes revealed a trace of madness. No matter what, he had to take Ling Xiao down today. He was determined to get the longevity fruit tree on Ling Xiao. He could not let it fall into anyone's hands. Chapter 391. A terrifying aura filled the air. As the two kings faced each other, the space around them trembled slightly. Powerful auras intertwined as if the entire world was about to collapse, making it hard for people to breathe. Ji Feishuan's body was surrounded by a myriad of multicolored lights and surging auspicious energy. Even though her face was covered by a veil, she had an indescribable luxurious aura. A purple light beam shot out from her bright eyes like a blazing sword ray that pierced through the void. Ji Feishuan didn't say anything, but her actions proved that she wouldn't hesitate to fight the King of Nirvana if he dared to touch her. Boom! Above the sky, dark clouds rolled and purple lightning flashed, forming a mysterious connection with the auspicious aura around Ji Feishuan. Streaks of purple lightning were like blazing divine swords that were about to strike at any time. She actually cultivated the purple firmament godly sword technique to such a level? The king of Nirvana's face turned ugly as he found it hard to believe. The purple lightning contained a terrifying murderous intent that made his skin turn cold as he felt a sense of danger. Moreover, the purple light in Ji Feishuan's eyes seemed to be able to see through everything, making the king of Nirvana feel as if he was seen through by Ji Feishuan. He had underestimated the king of Jade Lake. The king of Nirvana suddenly felt that he was in a difficult position. The eyes of the lords of Yin Yang, Black Dragon, and Hades all shone brightly as they looked at Ji Feishuan with a slightly solemn expression. They originally thought that they were veteran kings and had entered this realm many years ago. Their strength was unfathomable and they had underestimated Ji Feishuan. However, they suddenly realized that Ji Feishuan's combat strength wasn't any weaker than theirs. She has mastered the purple firmament godly sword technique and awakened her heavenly fate bloodline. Does she already have the combat strength of a peak noble realm expert? Ling Xiao whispered. Ji Feishuan was much stronger than when she was at the fearsome Beast Mountain range. After entering the noble realm, it was as if she had entered a new world. Brother Nirvana, since this kid is acquainted with the king of Jade Lake, why don't you give her some face and let him go for now? The black dragon smiled faintly as if he had seen through the king of Nirvana's awkwardness. His words gave King of Nirvana a way out. King of Nirvana coldly snorted and said, "Jade Lake King, I will give you face today. However, this longevity secret realm is full of dangers. I would like to see how long you can protect him." The Nirvana King was very angry. He was very unhappy that he had so many scruples and restrictions when dealing with a Grandmaster Realm Ant. "You don't need to worry about that, King of Nirvana," Ji Feishuan said indifferently as the terrifying king's aura spread out from her body. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, their faces turning pale. Compared to a noble plane cultivator, even a celestial realm cultivator could only be considered an ant. Sect leader, are we going to let Ling Xiao off just like that? What about the longevity fruit tree? If it falls into the hands of the Jade Lake King, it will be troublesome. Mo Kong unwillingly transmitted his voice to Nirvana King. The king of Nirvana's gaze was also uncertain. The longevity heavenly palace was about to open, and it would be chaotic then. If Ling Xiao really gave the longevity fruit tree to Ji Feishuan, there was nothing he could do. "Are you sure the longevity fruit tree is with Ling Xiao?" King of Nirvana asked coldly. "I'm sure." Mo Kong's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he said, "I have already recorded the longevity fruit tree's aura." Although Ling Xiao, Phoenix Maiden, Yueshan, and that old goat were among those who appeared on the longevity fruit tree, only Ling Xiao had the longevity fruit tree's aura. It must be with him. Alright, since that's the case, you can directly expose this matter, King of Nirvana said. Expose it? Mo Kong was stunned. If we expose it, how can we have a share of the longevity fruit tree? Idiot! The reason why the Yin Yang Lords, Black Dragon King, and Hell King are unwilling to help me offend Ji Feishuan is because there is no conflict of interest. If they know that Ling Xiao has the longevity fruit tree, they will definitely cause trouble. Anyway, there are 30 longevity fruits, and 6 of them is enough for us. At that time, not only will we obtain the longevity fruit tree, but Ling Xiao will also die without a doubt. King of Nirvana said coldly, the killing intent in his eyes blazing. After offending an ant like Ling Xiao time and time again, he was also very angry in his heart. He didn't want to wait for another chance and wanted to kill Ling Xiao now. Sect Master is wise. Mo Kong's eyes lit up. If the news of the longevity fruit tree was exposed, even if the Nirvana demon sect couldn't take the longevity fruit tree alone, 6 of them would be enough. They could also tie the Yin Yang Lords, Black Dragon King, and Hell King together and cause trouble together. Even if Ji Feishuan protected Ling Xiao would still die without a doubt. The most important thing is that the longevity secret realm was left behind by the longevity sect, and the rise of this brat Ling Xiao is too strange. I feel that if we let him enter the longevity heavenly palace, it will definitely not be a good thing. We must kill him. King of Nirvana's eyes were cold, and the killing intent in his voice made Mo Kong shudder involuntarily. Sect Master, I understand. Thinking of this, Mo Kong's eyes also revealed a trace of malevolence. At the shore of the Ruoshui Lake, everyone was waiting for the purple lightning outside the Longevity Heavenly Palace to disperse and prepare to enter the Longevity Heavenly Palace. However, Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. He felt the cold killing intent in King of Nirvana and Mo Kong's eyes. Kings, I have something to report to all of you. Mo Kong stood out and bowed to the lords of the 5 great saint lands. Oh, what is it? The Yin Yang lords, Black Dragon King, and Hell King were all slightly taken aback. Ji Feishuan's beautiful brows also frowned slightly, feeling that something was wrong. Kings, do you know about the longevity fruit tree? Mo Kong smiled faintly and looked at Ling Xiao as if he was looking at a dead man. What is the longevity fruit tree? Everyone was stunned. They had never heard of the longevity fruit tree before, but they guessed that it might be a precious spirit tree. However, the Yin Yang lords and the others' eyes were bursting with light as they revealed incomparably excited expressions. Longevity fruit tree? You mean the longevity fruit tree? Nephew Mo Kong, could it be that you found the longevity fruit tree in the longevity secret realm? The Black Dragon King exclaimed. He was the most excited one and couldn't help but ask. This was because, like King of Nirvana, he was the oldest king. Now that his lifespan was nearing its end, he still couldn't see any hope of breaking through. Others might not know about the longevity fruit tree, but the Black Dragon King had naturally heard of its legend. Legend had it that the longevity fruit tree was the spiritual root of heaven and earth, a supreme divine medicine. A single longevity fruit could extend one's lifespan by 10,000 years, almost equivalent to the lifespan of a legendary sovereign. To the Black Dragon King, this was a fatal attraction. Ling Xiao and the old goat's eyes instantly darkened. Damn bastards, looks like the ones who found the longevity fruit tree were Mo Kong and King of Nirvana. Chapter 392. No matter, I'd like to see what he wants. Ling Xiao's voice was very cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent as he looked at Mo Kong. Phoenix Maiden and Moon Goddess expressions changed slightly. They instantly understood Mo Kong's intention. He wanted to rope in the other kings to deal with Ling Xiao together. Facing the temptation of the longevity fruit, it was inevitable that the kings would not attack Ling Xiao. Lord Black Dragon King is right. I did find a longevity fruit tree in the longevity secret realm. That longevity fruit tree grows on the corpses of extraterrestrial demons and is nourished and nurtured with the flesh and blood of countless extraterrestrial demons. There are a total of 30 longevity fruits. Although it has not reached the legendary level of increasing one's lifespan by 10,000 years, it can at least increase one's lifespan by 1,000 years. It is a supreme sacred medicine. Mo Kong smiled slightly. The eyes of the Black Dragon King, the lords of Yin Yang, and the lord of the underworld all lit up. They were all very excited. To them, even if it could increase their lifespan by 1,000 years, it was still an extremely amazing treasure. After all, the longevity secret realm was full of treasures, but there were very few king-level spirit herbs, let alone supreme sacred medicines. Nephew Mo Kong, where is that longevity fruit tree? The Black Dragon King was the most excited. Although he was also very puzzled as to why Mo Kong would reveal this news, he could not care less at this moment. He had to get the longevity fruit. That longevity fruit tree is on Ling Xiao. Mo Kong smiled faintly, his gaze falling on Ling Xiao. What? Everyone trembled, somewhat in disbelief as they looked at Ling Xiao at the same time. Even the eyes of the lords of the 5 great holy lands landed on Ling Xiao, with an inquisitive look. The legendary longevity fruit tree was actually obtained by Ling Xiao? That was a supreme sacred medicine that could increase one's lifespan. It was incomparably precious, causing the lords of the martial Dao holy lands to drool endlessly. Immediately, many people looked at Ling Xiao with greed in their eyes. Being stared at by so many people, especially a few kings, would have caused an ordinary person to tremble in fear. However, Ling Xiao still appeared very calm. Only his eyes had become a bit colder. Sirs, I accidentally found traces of the longevity fruit tree, but there was an extremely powerful seal around the tree. I couldn't break through it at all, and I even encountered a powerful otherworldly demon. I was chased down by it, but I managed to kill it with great difficulty and contacted the sect master. But by the time we arrived, the longevity fruit tree had already been dug out. Sect master collected a few strands of aura from where the longevity fruit tree was. It was the aura of Ling Xiao, Feng Nu, Moon Goddess, and Old Goat, so the longevity fruit tree must be with them. Mo Kong recounted what had happened. As he looked at Ling Xiao, his eyes were filled with undisguised killing intent and fury. He had suffered at Ling Xiao's hands time and time again, and his hatred for Ling Xiao had reached the extreme. Ridiculous! The longevity fruit is a legendary supreme treasure. You actually said that Ling Xiao dug out a longevity fruit tree and 30 longevity fruits? Even if you hate Ling Xiao, you can't make such irresponsible remarks, right? Feng Nu couldn't help but stand up and rebuke angrily, her eyes filled with a cold expression. That's right, I can also prove that we didn't find any longevity fruit tree. Moon Goddess's voice was cold, and her body was surrounded by faint moonlight. She looked very holy. Everyone was somewhat puzzled. Both Feng Nu and Moon Goddess denied it at the same time. Could it be that Mo Kong had made up a lie? At this moment, Nirvana King spoke. Mo Kong is right. I did find the aura of the longevity fruit tree, and I also found the auras of the 4 of them sealed in this jade. If you don't believe me, you can check it. Nirvana King's voice was indifferent. A jade appeared in his hand, and 4 faint auras swam within it, flickering with light. Noble realm cultivators dominated the will of heaven and earth and could capture the traces of living beings, so this jade became the best evidence. It really is the auras of the 4 of them. Brother Nirvana, are you sure that the longevity fruit tree is on Ling Xiao? Black Dragon King's eyes flashed as he slowly said, only Ling Xiao has the aura of the longevity fruit tree. The longevity fruit tree must be on him. Nirvana King said with certainty. Sect Master, don't listen to their nonsense. Ling Xiao really doesn't have the longevity fruit tree. Feng Nu was slightly anxious and hurriedly said to Black Dragon King. Shut up. Black Dragon King coldly glanced at Feng Nu. You should be very clear about the grudge between Ling Xiao and my Wanshou sect, but you still dare to mix with him. Do you really think I won't dare to kill you? Feng Nu's body trembled, and her eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. At the same time, she also saw a trace of killing intent in Black Dragon King's eyes. Feng Nu thought of what Ling Xiao had said to her before. She had the body of a black phoenix, but he wanted her to cultivate the vermilion bird true technique. Could it be that Black Dragon King really wanted her primordial Yin? Thinking of this, Feng Nu's face instantly paled. Ling Xiao, hand over the longevity fruit tree. Black Dragon King looked down and said indifferently. Hand over the longevity fruit tree and you can still live. Otherwise, you will definitely die. Nephew Ling Xiao, you'd better hand it over. The Netherworld King and the Yin Yang King also stood out, no longer calm. After all, the longevity fruit tree was too important, and they couldn't help but be moved. Ha! I've finally seen the so-called masters of the Holy Land, the so-called kings. They actually want to deal with a youth because of a groundless accusation. If you believe Mo Kong's words, why don't you believe our words? You're just a group of people fishing for fame. The old goat laughed out loud, his eyes filled with mockery. Ling Xiao, take care of your pet. You dare to be rude to a king lord, be careful that you don't die a graveless death. Mo Kong sneered, killing intent exploding in his eyes. I really don't know what the longevity fruit tree is. What do you want me to hand over? Ling Xiao smiled faintly, his expression calm. It's not up to you to decide whether there is a longevity fruit tree or not. Hand over your storage treasure, and we'll know once we check it. Black Dragon King was very domineering. A black light shot out from his eyes, cold and indifferent. Nephew Ling Xiao, don't worry. If you don't have the longevity fruit tree in your storage treasure, we won't make things difficult for you. The Yin Yang King smiled faintly. He looked very amiable, but there was an unquestionable tone in his voice. That's enough. Bullying a youth like this, Do you still have the bearing of a master of a holy land? Ji Feishuan stood out, frowning slightly as she said coldly. Jade Lake King, I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. The longevity fruit tree is of great importance. Ling Xiao is just an ant. What right does he have to occupy such a precious treasure? He must hand it over today. If you dare to interfere, don't blame us for falling out with you. Chapter 393. Jade Lake King, don't worry. We only want the longevity fruit tree. As long as Ling Xiao hands it over, no one will make things difficult for him. The Yin-Yang Lord smiled. Ling Xiao, I advise you to obediently hand over the longevity fruit tree. Such a precious treasure isn't something you can possess. Otherwise, when the great kings get angry, you'll definitely die. Mo Kong sneered. Everyone, why should I obediently hand over my storage treasure for you to search with just a word from Mo Kong? What if you can't find the longevity fruit tree? Ling Xiao's voice was very cold, and there was anger surging in his heart. The Nirvana King and Mo Kong had repeatedly caused trouble for him, making Ling Xiao wish he could kill them immediately. But let me tell you why. The Black Dragon King said coldly. Because you are just an ant. You don't have the right to possess a treasure like the longevity fruit tree. Because we are stronger than you and can control your life and death. If you don't hand over your storage treasure, then die. The Black Dragon King was very domineering. His entire body was filled with terrifying light, and a powerful king's aura surged, suppressing towards Ling Xiao. What a good, the strong are respected, what a good, control life and death. I just want to ask, if you can't find the longevity fruit tree on me, will the Black Dragon King, the Yin-Yang King, the Netherworld King, and the Nirvana King all die? Ling Xiao sneered, and a sharp light flickered in his eyes. Impudent! You're courting death. Ling Xiao, don't think we don't dare to kill you. The Black Dragon King, Nirvana King, and Netherworld King's faces turned cold. Killing intent surged in their eyes, and their bodies emitted a powerful aura. Although the Yin-Yang Lords didn't say anything, their eyes also darkened. Mo Kong was overjoyed. He wished Ling Xiao could be more arrogant. It would be best if he angered the kings and killed Ling Xiao directly. Ling Xiao is right. You all only heard Mo Kong's side of the story. After all, no one saw Ling Xiao dig up the longevity fruit tree with their own eyes. You can search Ling Xiao's storage treasure, but what if you can't find it? Divine light flickered around Ji Feishuan's body. Purple lightning seemed to turn into streaks of resplendent sword light that soared into the sky and dissolved the pressure of the kings. If we can't find him, we naturally won't make things difficult for him. But if we find it with his attitude, he's dead for sure. The Black Dragon King said coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. You won't make things difficult for me. With a single sentence from Mo Kong, he doesn't need to take any responsibility, and I'm forced to search through my storage magic treasures. You kings are truly fair and just. Ling Xiao sneered. His last few words were heavily enunciated and filled with ridicule. Then what do you want? The Nirvana King said coldly. If it wasn't for Ji Feishuan, he would have killed Ling Xiao a long time ago. He wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. If you can't find the longevity fruit tree on me, I want Mo Kong to kowtow and apologize to me and slap himself in the face. Ling Xiao said coldly as he glanced at Mo Kong. Ling Xiao, dream on. Mo Kong flew into a rage and roared. I think it's very good. If Mo Kong really framed Ling Xiao, he couldn't possibly not bear the slightest bit of responsibility, right? If you want to search Ling Xiao's storage magic treasures, Mo Kong will have to pay the price. Otherwise, if anyone dares to touch Ling Xiao, I won't rest until I'm dead. Ji Feishuan's voice was very cold, but it was also very decisive. There was a kind of sonorous intent that shook the hearts of the kings. They became more and more confused. What was the relationship between Ling Xiao and Ji Feishuan? To actually make Ji Feishuan protect him at all costs. I think Ling Xiao's words aren't without reason. If Mo Kong really framed him, we should indeed apologize to Ling Xiao. The Yin-Yang King's eyes flashed as he smiled slightly. I also agree. The Nether King said, and the Black Dragon King also agreed. In any case, Mo Kong was the one at a disadvantage, and they didn't have any losses. Naturally, they agreed without hesitation. The Nirvana King was very angry in his heart. He secretly cursed these 3 old foxes, but since everyone had agreed, he couldn't object alone. My lords, Ling Xiao might have hidden the longevity ancient tree on Phoenix Girl, Moon Goddess, or that goat. If you want to search, all 4 of them will definitely be able to find the longevity ancient tree. If you can't find the longevity ancient tree on any of them, I'm willing to kowtow and apologize to Ling Xiao and slap my own face. Mo Kong said with gritted teeth. Although he was unwilling in his heart, he also knew that he had no choice but to agree. Moreover, Mo Kong also believed that the longevity ancient tree was definitely on Ling Xiao. When he found the longevity ancient tree on Ling Xiao's body, he would find Ling Xiao to settle the score and vent his anger. Alright, Ling Xiao, can you hand over your storage magic treasure now? The Nirvana King sneered. He also believed that the longevity ancient tree was definitely on Ling Xiao. Moreover, with so many kings watching, Ling Xiao couldn't possibly hide the longevity ancient tree. Ling Xiao's gaze was very cold. It wasn't that he didn't dare to hand over his storage treasure. Before he came, he had a premonition that he had already hidden the longevity ring in his Dantian Qi Si and was wrapped up by the sky-devouring golden lotus. The ring on his hand was only an ordinary storage ring, so the kings wouldn't be able to find the longevity ancient tree even if they searched. Ling Xiao was unhappy, extremely unhappy. Since when had the dignified sky-devouring supreme fallen to the point of being forced to search his storage treasure? Ling Xiao was waiting. He was waiting for the longevity heavenly palace to open so that these people would all pay the price. Ling Xiao's heart was burning with rage and killing intent, but his expression was increasingly calm. He didn't say a word as he took off his storage ring and handed it over to Ji Feishuan. Phoenix Maiden and Moon Goddess also took off their storage treasures and handed them over to the Black Dragon King and the Yin Yang Lord. The old goat sneered at the side, not worried at all. He naturally knew Ling Xiao's plan. This time, the Nirvana King and Mo Kong's plan was destined to fail. Thinking about the scene of Mo Kong kowtowing and apologizing and slapping himself in the face, the old goat also secretly vented his anger. Ji Feishuan glanced at Ling Xiao and took the storage ring. Everyone's gaze also fell on Ji Feishuan. Under the gazes of so many kings, Ji Feishuan couldn't do anything. Ji Feishuan extended a trace of primordial spirit power and checked the contents of the storage ring. Her brows relaxed and a trace of a smile flashed across her eyes. There's no longevity fruit tree in Ling Xiao's storage ring. Ji Feishuan's voice was very faint, but it was like a bolt of lightning that caused the Nirvana King and Mo Kong's expressions to change greatly. How is this possible? The longevity fruit tree was clearly taken by Ling Xiao? How can it not be? It must be with the Moon Goddess and Phoenix Maiden. Mo Kong roared, his eyes filled with disbelief. The Nirvana King's expression was also gloomy. He took Ling Xiao's storage ring and found that other than some spirit crystals, spirit herbs, and weapons, there was no longevity fruit tree at all. There's no longevity fruit tree in the Moon Goddess storage ring. There's no longevity fruit tree in the Phoenix Maiden's storage ring. The Yin Yang Lord and Black Dragon King were also very disappointed and reported the results of their investigation. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Mo Kong was about to go crazy. He snatched the storage rings of Ling Xiao, Moon Goddess, and Phoenix Maiden and poured them all out. There was indeed no longevity fruit tree inside. Chapter 394. Ling Xiao, Moon Goddess, and Phoenix Maiden had already taken out their storage magic treasures, and under the gaze of the kings, the 3 of them had been seen through. Including the old goat, there was no fluctuation of a storage magic treasure on them, so it was impossible for them to hide the longevity fruit tree. However, the longevity fruit tree was indeed not on Ling Xiao. Mo Kong firmly believed that the longevity fruit tree must have been dug out by Ling Xiao, but he did not expect that Ling Xiao did not have it on him at all. I don't believe it. Ling Xiao, where did you hide the longevity fruit tree? You must have put it somewhere else. You're too sinister. Mo Kong roared at Ling Xiao, his eyes filled with the light of choosing someone to devour. He was so angry that he was about to lose his mind. When he thought about how he would have to kowtow and apologize to Ling Xiao if he did not find the longevity fruit tree, Mo Kong almost fainted. I said, "I've never seen any longevity fruit tree. Now everything can be proven, right? Mo Kong, now that you haven't found the longevity fruit tree, can you fulfill your promise?" Ling Xiao's expression was very cold, and his voice was indifferent. A trace of killing intent appeared in King of Nirvana's eyes. He also believed Mo Kong's words. The longevity fruit tree must have been hidden by Ling Xiao, but this result was also beyond his expectations. Ling Xiao, it seems that this king has really underestimated you. You have to hide the longevity fruit tree well. Otherwise, if this king finds it, the small Changsun sect will have to suffer this king's anger. King of Nirvana's voice was incomparably cold. Enough! Ji Feishuan stood out and said coldly, "Now that it's clear that Ling Xiao doesn't have the longevity fruit tree, is there any meaning in threatening a junior like this? On the other hand, Mo Kong should fulfill the bet, right?" The Yin Yang King, Black Dragon King, and Nether King were all old foxes. At this moment, they were very disappointed that they could not find the longevity fruit tree, but they did not plan to continue interfering. Everyone's gaze fell on Mo Kong, causing him to tremble. He felt a wave of humiliation and oppression, and his face turned pale. "All right, I'll fulfill the bet." Mo Kong gritted his teeth and suddenly knelt down in front of Ling Xiao, kowtowing with all his might. The mountain rocks on the ground were shattered by him, showing the anger in his heart. "Ling Xiao, I was wrong." Mo Kong gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. Making him lower his head in front of Ling Xiao was simply worse than killing him. His gaze towards Ling Xiao was filled with hatred and murderous intent. Even his handsome face was somewhat ferocious. "Scram. In the future, don't bite anyone you catch. As a dog, you should have the awareness of being a dog." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "What an arrogant brat. I hope you can continue to be so arrogant." The Nirvana King's eyes were filled with coldness. He glanced at Ling Xiao indifferently and pulled Mo Kong to the side. Everyone there was waiting for the opening of the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Thus, they quickly forgot about this minor incident. This was because the Longevity Heavenly Palace had opened. Above the Ruoshui Lake, there were thousands of rays of light and auspicious colors. The huge Longevity Heavenly Palace floated in the air with a majestic aura. At this moment, the purple heavenly thunderbolts that shrouded the Heavenly Palace had all dissipated. "The Longevity Heavenly Palace has opened. Let's go." Immediately, many people wanted to rush into the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. They had been waiting for this moment for too long. The countless treasures in the Longevity Heavenly Palace seemed to be beckoning to everyone. Sect leader, elderly, when the kings enter the Longevity Heavenly Palace, immediately crush the longevity token and leave the Longevity Mystery Land. Ling Xiao did not move immediately. Instead, he walked to Nangong Xian and whispered to him through telepathy. "What about you?" Nangong Xian and Li Ling were stunned. They had seen how Ling Xiao had been humiliated and were filled with anger. However, they felt that they were too weak to help. Do these bastards really think that it's so easy to enter the Longevity Heavenly Palace? Don't worry, sect leader. I'll teach them an unforgettable lesson. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as his eyes shone with a sharp light. All right, then be careful. Nangong Xian knew that the people from the Longevity sect would only be a burden to Ling Xiao if they stayed. After all, they had collected a lot of treasures in the Longevity Mystery Land. It was a good time to bring all the disciples of the Longevity sect out. Rumble! The sect leaders of the Holy Lands flew together like 5 brilliant suns towards the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Before the opening of the Longevity Heavenly Palace, they seemed to be on good terms. However, after the opening of the Heavenly Palace, they were competitors. There was a high possibility of a huge battle breaking out. Therefore, they were all on guard against each other. Everyone soared into the sky and turned into divine rainbows as they shot towards the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Kid, let's go too. When we're in the Longevity Heavenly Palace, We'll activate the supreme killing array and kill all these bastards. The old goat also felt extremely depressed. His eyes were filled with blazing killing intent. Alright, let's go. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he followed the people from the Jade Lake sect into the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Rumble. It was as if they had entered another world. Clouds and mist rose and divine light lingered around. With a casual breath, they could devour a large amount of spiritual energy. They felt refreshed and their cultivation base was slowly increasing. The spiritual energy within the Longevity Heavenly Palace was simply too abundant. Many of them had intoxicated looks in their eyes. At that moment, Ling Xiao suddenly felt a cold killing intent coming towards him. In an instant, it was behind him. Rumble. A powerful aura burst out from Ling Xiao's body. Without thinking, he used a secret teleportation technique to move away. At the same time, he punched out. Blazing fist radiance burst out like a small sun. It was an ancient sword that emitted a monstrous demonic light. Blazing killing intent and unparalleled sharpness collided with Ling Zhao's fist radiance. Sparks flew everywhere. Mo Kong. Killing intent flashed across Ling Zhao's eyes. The one who had ambushed him was none other than Mo Kong. Seeing that his attack had missed, Mo Kong revealed a look of pity. He had entered the Longevity Heavenly Palace in advance to ambush Ling Xiao. However, he did not expect Ling Zhao's reaction to be so sharp. In the end, he still failed. Ling Xiao, the Longevity Heavenly Palace will be your burial ground. Just you wait, haha, Mo Kong sneered. His figure flashed as he wanted to fly towards the depths of the Longevity Heavenly Palace. He did not want to continue fighting with Ling Xiao. You want to leave? You'd better stay behind. Killing intent burned in Ling Zhao's eyes. He had been worrying about how to deal with Mo Kong. Unexpectedly, Mo Kong had come himself. How could Ling Xiao let him leave? Rumble. Chapter 395. 6 mysterious worlds rose up behind Ling Xiao, revealing the mysteries of the heavens and the power of the concept of reincarnation. This was the 6 paths of reincarnation. Ling Xiao wanted to kill Mo Kong, so he used his strongest move right from the start. What? Mo Kong's expression changed drastically, and his scalp went numb. Ling Zhao's punch contained boundless heavenly might, making him feel as if he was facing an expert of the noble realm. There was no way he could match him at all. This move actually made him feel like he couldn't fight back. Moreover, the teleportation secret technique was too fast. It was like a golden lightning bolt piercing through the void, instantly arriving in front of Mo Kong, making it impossible for him to dodge. Nirvana true skill, demon descends to the world, break for me. Ling Zhao's attack was too fast, so fast that Mo Kong couldn't react at all. However, in this life and death crisis, Mo Kong began to fight with his life on the line. The demonic aura around his body seemed to burn, and the sky halberd in his hand slashed down like a black wave, accompanied by a destructive force. Boom! The 6 worlds formed by the 6 paths of reincarnation were like 6 brilliant suns rising into the sky, spewing out endless spiritual energy, obliterating all the demonic aura. At the same time, it fiercely suppressed the sky halberd. Endless runes exploded, and the powerful sky halberd was shattered by Ling Zhao's punch. The unparalleled fist print landed on Mo Kong's body, causing the black armor on his body to shatter instantly. His entire body seemed to have been struck by lightning, and his face was incomparably pale as he coughed up blood and flew backward. Ling Zhao's speed was extremely fast, and he arrived in front of Mo Kong in an instant. He grabbed Mo Kong's neck with one hand and lifted him up. Ling Xiao, are you courting death? King Nirvana, who was originally at the front, roared when he saw this scene. His eyes were filled with incomparably cold murderous intent. King Nirvana was shocked and furious. He never thought that Mo Kong wouldn't be a match for Ling Xiao. By the time he was ready to rescue Mo Kong, it was already too late. Cough cough. Mo Kong's face was extremely red. The hand on his throat seemed to be able to crush his neck at any time, causing his eyes to reveal an incomparably terrified expression. Only now did Mo Kong feel a little regretful. Why did he provoke this fiend? Ling Xiao, If you dare to touch a single hair on Emokong, I'll let your Changsheng sect be annihilated. King of Nirvana roared angrily as he charged towards Ling Xiao. His entire body exuded a majestic king's aura. The cultivators who had entered the Longevity Heavenly Palace were also stunned. Who would have thought that the peerless genius Emokong, whose name shook the entire 8 Desolates region, would be defeated so easily by Ling Xiao? Could it be that this was Ling Xiao's? Old bastard, not only must Emokong die, but you must die as well. Wash your neck. And you. Ling Xiao's eyes were incomparably cold and sharp. Unparalleled divine power erupted from his hand and instantly crushed Emokong's throat. Emokong's eyes were filled with disbelief and unwillingness. He couldn't understand why Ling Xiao dared to kill him. The Nirvana King was already in front of him. Did Ling Xiao not want to live anymore? But he couldn't get the result. The blazing, devouring true fire rose from Ling Xiao's hand and engulfed Emokong, turning him into ashes. King Nirvana's eyes turned red. Ling Xiao, I'm going to kill you. His furious roar was like a thunderclap. The Nirvana King's voice was filled with rage and killing intent. He flew across the sky, and his monstrous demonic palm, which contained the majestic power of heaven and earth, pressed down on Ling Xiao. Old bastard, the next time I appear, I'll kill you. Murderous intent flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. He didn't seem to care about Nirvana King's attack at all. He and Old Goat stood under a white jade pillar. A resplendent light enveloped the two of them and they instantly disappeared. King Nirvana's monstrous palm fell, but it seemed to be dissolved by an invisible force. It didn't cause any damage at all. Bastard! Ling Xiao, you bastard! Get out here if you have the ability. I'll tear you to shreds and make you beg for death. The King of Nirvana hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. He roared like an angry lion. His eyes were filled with the desire to devour Ling Xiao. He was about to go crazy. At the same time, he was shocked. Ling Xiao had obviously triggered some kind of restriction array in the Longevity Heavenly Palace. That was why he was teleported away. But how could Ling Xiao be so familiar with the Longevity Heavenly Palace? Thinking about Ling Xiao's rapid rise and the relationship between the Longevity sect and the Longevity Heavenly Palace, King Nirvana felt that it might not be a good thing to enter the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Where are the people from the Longevity sect? Capture them all. I'm going to kill them all. Let's see how long that bastard Ling Xiao can hide. King Nirvana said coldly. Sect Master. The people from the Longevity sect didn't enter the Longevity Heavenly Palace. They left the Longevity secret territory immediately. Soon, a disciple of the Nirvana demon sect came to report in panic. Damn it! King Nirvana's eyes were cold. He had already made up his mind. When he left the Longevity secret territory, he would pay a visit to the Longevity sect and wipe them all out. Let's go. We'll plunder the treasures in the Longevity Heavenly Palace first. King Nirvana didn't dare to delay. He suppressed everything and chased after the kings. The most important thing in the Longevity Heavenly Palace was the inheritance of the Sky-Devouring Supreme and Longevity Supreme. The kings also valued the inheritance the most. When the time came, there would be an earth-shattering battle. Just as countless cultivators swarmed toward the Longevity Celestial Palace, a group of black-robed men appeared on top of a lofty mountain, radiating a ghostly aura. Are the Morning Soul spikes all set up? The leader of the group was an old man in a black robe. He wore a ferocious ghost mask on his face. He exuded a chilling ghost aura like a ghost king. All 28 Morning Soul spikes are in place. However, the real 7-star Morning Soul spikes were lost in the Great Barren Ancient Country by young Master Wuji. The current 7-star Morning Soul spikes are only replicas. There might be loopholes. A black-robed man behind him reported. Even if there are loopholes, it doesn't matter. When the Lord comes out, everyone in the Longevity secret territory will be wiped out. By then, the entire 8 Desolates region will be ours. The ghost-faced old man's eyes flashed with a hint of fanaticism. Let's go. Let's plunder all the treasures in the Longevity Heavenly Palace first. Under the ghost-faced old man's lead, The group of black-robed men turned into rays of light and shot towards the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Not long after they left, there was a flash of light in the air and a very sloppy old man appeared. He wore a tattered robe and held a huge gourd of wine in his hand. His turbid eyes were filled with a sliver of vicissitude. The seal of 10,000 years is finally going to open. I can finally be free. Chapter 396. Longevity Heavenly Palace. Ling Xiao and the old goat watched helplessly as they disappeared from Nirvana King's sight and arrived at an ancient palace. Where is this? The old goat was curious. Longevity Heavenly Palace had only been a training ground for Longevity Sect disciples 10,000 years ago. The old goat had never been here before. The ancient palace looked very spacious, but it was shrouded in multicolored light. Balls of light floated in front of them, projecting scenes of every corner of Longevity Heavenly Palace. This is the core of Longevity Heavenly Palace, and also the hub of the formation. If I activate the killing formation of Longevity Heavenly Palace, even the lords of the sacred lands will suffer. Ling Xiao said faintly, a sharp glint in his eyes. The old goat grew excited. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and activate the killing formation. Kill Nirvana King, Yin Yang King, Black Dragon King, and Hell King, those 4 bastards. I've long since found them an eyesore. We might as well destroy all of them. When the time comes, Longevity Sect will take control of Longevity Secret Realm and rise rapidly. It's a pity that the killing formation of Longevity Heavenly Palace can't be activated yet. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with pity. The reason why Longevity Secret Realm has been sealed for 10,000 years is because it's suppressing the otherworldly demons. The killing formation of Longevity Heavenly Palace is the hub. If we recklessly activate it, the otherworldly demons might go berserk. The consequences will be unimaginable. The old goat said gravely, "You're right. But it's fine even if we can't activate the killing formation. Once this emperor recovers a little more, this emperor will slaughter all of those dogs-hit kings. I'm planning to do the same. We can use the longevity fruit to break through here. When we come out, it'll be time to settle the score with Nirvana King and the others." Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a burning killing intent. Let them go just like that? What about the treasures in Longevity Heavenly Palace? The old goat was unwilling. Don't worry. It's not that easy to let them go. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. A bright light flickered in his hand as he formed a seal in the void. The surrounding ancient palaces began to resonate with each other as a mysterious wave rippled out. A stretch of faintly discernible clouds seemingly appeared within the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Light shone resplendently and auspicious energy rose up. A faint aroma wafted out from the palace, causing those who smelled it to feel refreshed. Soul-dispersing light? Brat, you're ruthless enough. Ha, but I like it. The old goat was taken aback as a look of surprise appeared in his eyes. The soul-dispersing light was a potent poison that targeted one's primordial spirit. It was invisible and immaterial, and it was extremely difficult to detect. Even a ruler would be affected if he was not careful. The primordial spirit of anyone who was hit by the soul-dispersing light would be shrouded in a strange substance that could weaken the primordial spirit. There was no way to dispel it. In the end, the primordial spirit would be destroyed, killing people without leaving a trace. The old goat did not expect Ling Xiao to be able to activate the soul-dispersing light in the palace. The soul-dispersing light had no effect on those who had not condensed a martial Dao primordial spirit. But to experts above the noble realm, it was simply toxic arsenic. The Longevity Heavenly Palace has 5 halls: spirit, medicine, pills, artifacts, and arts. They're divided into the 5 elements and contain countless treasures. We're in the hidden hall. They won't be able to find this place at all. So what if those treasures are temporarily stored with them? When we come out of seclusion, we'll make them return everything with interest. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His eyes were filled with dominance and unparalleled sharpness. Brat, you're becoming more and more like your master. There's actually someone so similar in this world? You're not that guy's reincarnation, are you? The old goat stared at Ling Xiao with a suspicious expression. Ling Xiao's expression froze. The old goat was really sharp. He laughed and changed the topic. With a flash of light in his hand, the longevity fruit tree appeared in the palace. The old goat's attention was indeed diverted. His eyes instantly lit up. Ling Xiao, if you give me 20 longevity fruits, I'll be able to heal more than half of my Dao injuries. Then I'll help you beat those bastards. The old goat's eyes shone brightly. Howling, he charged forward to take the longevity fruit tree. 20 longevity fruits? Ling Xiao rolled his eyes. Why don't you just rob me? I'm robbing you. The old goat didn't care. He looked like he was going to go all out if Ling Xiao didn't give him the longevity fruit. In the end, Ling Xiao had no choice but to compromise. After all, he needed the old goat's help. Unfortunately, the magical laws within the longevity fruit weren't complete. Even if he took too many, it wouldn't have much of an effect. In the end, Ling Xiao gritted his teeth and gave the old goat 10 longevity fruits. Only then was the old goat satisfied. Whiz! The Heaven Devourer cauldron floated above the old goat's head, shining with dazzling golden light. 10 longevity fruits shone with a hazy light and surged with propitious energy as they were sucked into the cauldron. Blazing flames rose, and the old goat was enveloped in multicolored light as he began to refine the longevity fruit. Ling Xiao also plucked a longevity fruit and carefully put away the longevity fruit tree. My cultivation has reached the peak of LV9 of the Grandmaster realm. With the help of the Sky-Swallowing secret skill, the Ancestral Dragon secret skill, the Teleportation secret skill, the Violent Dragon superpower, and the 7 Limits divine skill, I can compete with those at the peak of the Celestial realm. However, I am still no match for those at the half-noble realm or even the noble realm. Ling Xiao was analyzing his combat strength. But if my cultivation reaches the Celestial realm, the secret skill of the Ancestral Dragon can break through to the 3rd level of the Flying Dragon body. By then, with the strength of my physical body, I can even fight against a noble realm expert. I might not be able to use the killing formation in the Heavenly Palace, but I can borrow the power of the Celestial Secret Realm's Dragon Vein. And with the Heaven-Devouring Sword, I'll be able to fight King Nirvana, or even kill him. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Whether it was in his previous life or this life, strength was everything. If Ling Xiao still had the strength of a supreme, how would King Nirvana and the others dare to force Ling Xiao like before? After understanding all this, Ling Xiao sat down cross-legged. Ignoring the others who were wantonly plundering the Heavenly Palace, Ling Xiao began to focus on improving his own strength. Ling Xiao took out the 9 Heavens spirit-dissolving grass and some other precious spiritual herbs. Other than that, there were 1,000,000 spirit crystals. Every level of the Ancestral Dragon body required 100 times the amount of resources. 1,000,000 spirit crystals was enough for a warrior to cultivate from the channel opening stage to the peak of the Deva realm. But here, it was only one of the resources Ling Xiao needed to break through the Flying Dragon body. The most important thing was still the 9 Heavens spirit-dissolving grass. The 9 Heavens spirit-dissolving grass was the key to activating the bloodline power in Ling Xiao's body and condensing the Flying Dragon body. Ling Xiao's body was now flawless, and he had reached the Earth Dragon body. It was the best opportunity to break through the Flying Dragon body. An earth-shattering dragon's roar sounded. Ling Xiao's body was filled with dragon power, and red clouds were surging. Billions of divine lights shot out from Ling Xiao's pores, turning into golden flames that burned fiercely. The aura on Ling Xiao's body suddenly became extremely violent. Chapter 397. If the Jiao dragons and earth dragons were not considered pure dragons, then the flying dragons were already the beginning of the dragon transformation. They were like fish leaping over the dragon gate, riding the clouds and soaring through the 9 heavens. Most of the dragons belonged to the flying dragons. As for the sky dragons and true dragons, which were above the flying dragons, they were the supreme existences even among the dragons. The 3rd level of the secret skill of the ancestral dragon, the flying dragon body, was the true power of the dragons. There was nothing one could not do. Although Ling Xiao had cultivated the secret teleportation spell, he could only fly for short distances. However, if he broke through to the flying dragon body, things would be different. By then, he would be able to travel thousands of miles in an instant. Even a noble plane cultivator would not be able to compare. The cultivation of the ancestral dragon body was the transformation and sublimation of one's bloodline. It was also the evolution of one's life. Therefore, it was extremely difficult to break through. The 9 Heavens spiritual herb was the king of medicines. Other than that, there were hundreds of different kinds of spiritual herbs, as well as the various treasures and millions of spiritual crystals that Ling Xiao had prepared. Ling Xiao followed the secret skill of the ancestral dragon's cultivation method. His blood boiled like a blazing flame. The sky-devouring golden lotus floated above his head, blooming and dazzling. Using the sky-devouring golden lotus to refine the various spiritual herbs could help the flying dragon body break through faster. The two complemented each other. Golden lotuses bloomed one after another. The 9 Heavens spiritual herb was dazzling like a small blazing sun. It was instantly enveloped by the sky-devouring golden lotus. Then, the spiritual herbs and treasures that Ling Xiao had prepared all floated up. They were surrounded by blazing flames and started to be refined. The sky-devouring fire had evolved to the level of heavenly fire. Its power was unparalleled. Therefore, it was very fast to refine the spiritual herbs. The spiritual herbs floated up and down in the sky-devouring fire. They were like countless stars in the starry sky, shining brightly. On the other hand, Ling Xiao's body emitted a divine glow. His pores opened up and a powerful dragon aura filled the air. Every pore of his body had a golden vortex. The refined energy of the spiritual medicine was absorbed into Ling Xiao's body. Strands of it were like golden mist. The blood in Ling Xiao's body began to boil. His meridians and blood vessels were like real dragons trembling in his body. His golden blood began to sublimate, emitting a domineering, dignified, and mysterious aura. The golden flames burned, and Ling Xiao's bones crackled. They were actually being reconstructed. Traces of golden mist merged with his bones, making them as white as jade. They were resplendent and flawless. Ling Xiao's physical body seemed to have been completely shattered and burned by the flames. His flesh and blood were reborn, with wisps of vitality lingering around him. The newly reconstructed flesh and blood were like born Taoism aptitude, without any impurities. Every breakthrough in the ancestral dragon body was like an evolution in the level of life. It immersed Ling Xiao in it as though his entire body was enveloped by the great Tao of heaven and earth. The corners of Ling Xiao's mouth held back a smile, and his appearance was solemn. Golden divine light and flames suffused his entire body, causing his aura to grow stronger and stronger. He was like a young divine king that had descended into the mortal world. A desolate, ancient, and mysterious dragon roar sounded. A dragon-shaped mark appeared between Ling Xiao's eyebrows, and it became clearer and clearer. The dragon-shaped mark was like a supreme true dragon that had dominated the ancient times and the world. It exuded an insufferably domineering aura. When the dragon-shaped mark appeared, the blood in Ling Xiao's body began to boil. The power of the 9 Heavens spirit dissolving grass was completely devoured by Ling Xiao. Furthermore, the power of the heavenly treasures and countless spiritual crystals was like a river flowing into the sea. Rumble! Purple thunderbolts appeared around Ling Xiao. The dragon-shaped mark between his eyebrows seemed to become more and more resplendent, as though it was about to fly out of Ling Xiao's forehead. The purple thunderbolts struck Ling Xiao's body and were absorbed by Ling Xiao's body, making him look more and more sacred. Moreover, the martial path primordial spirit in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness was also churning at this moment. It turned into Ling Xiao's appearance for a while, and then it turned into a true dragon. Black impurities began to be refined, and the primordial spirit was clear and flawless. The dragon-shaped mark appeared again? Could it be that my bloodline is really related to the dragon clan? Ling Xiao's heart revealed a trace of doubt as he muttered to himself. The dragon-shaped mark between his eyebrows seemed to be the power of his bloodline. However, at this moment, The power of the flying dragon body was unable to support its complete awakening. Ling Xiao had previously suspected the identity of his cheap mother. Now, it seemed like it wasn't a trivial matter. Perhaps the dragon-shaped mark will only be truly awakened when I break through the sky dragon body next time. Ling Xiao secretly thought to himself. With the help of the dragon-shaped mark, Ling Xiao's breakthrough to the flying dragon body was like the help of God. The originally incomparably firm bottleneck actually broke through in an instant. The dragon's roar shook the heavens, and the dragon's might was vast. The golden divine light around Ling Xiao's body was dazzling, and the true devouring fire bloomed. The pores all over his body were inhaling and exhaling the essence of heaven and earth, and his aura became incomparably violent. A vast dragon's might spread in all directions. At this moment, Ling Xiao seemed to have really transformed into a dragon, floating in the void and exuding an extremely oppressive aura. The flying dragon body had broken through. Ling Xiao's heart was filled with faint joy. The feeling of breaking through was great and powerful. I'll break through to the heaven realm in one go, Ling Xiao thought to himself. At this moment, his spirit was one with the heavens, his qi was one with his will. He felt as if the heavens and earth were within his reach, and he had fallen into a state of comprehension. The longevity fruit was like a resplendent ray of light, instantly falling into Ling Xiao's mouth. It melted in his mouth, filling his mouth with a fragrance. Immediately, a gentle and vast power erupted from Ling Xiao's body. The longevity fruit was a supreme sacred medicine, and was not something a medicine king like the 9 heaven spirit grass could compare to. Sacred medicines were favored by the heavens and earth, and contained the laws of the great Tao. They were extremely precious, and even if an emperor saw a sacred medicine, they would go crazy to snatch it. That was why the Nirvana King and the others were so crazy when they heard that Ling Xiao had the longevity fruit. Under the impact of the longevity fruit's power, Ling Xiao's aura began to rise. His cultivation, which had been stagnant, also began to slowly increase. Ling Xiao's accumulation was too deep, and his life source was incomparably powerful. Moreover, he had cultivated to the 10th level of perfection in every realm, so it was 10 times or 100 times harder for him to break through than ordinary people. However, with a supreme sacred medicine like the longevity fruit, the power of the laws of the great Tao fused into Ling Xiao's body, turning into a torrent, causing the bottleneck in his body to instantly break through. 10th level of the Master Realm. 1st level of the Heaven Realm. 2nd level of the Heaven Realm. 3rd level of the Heaven Realm. Peak of the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm. Ling Xiao's cultivation broke through to the peak of the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm before it slowly quieted down. It was not that Ling Xiao could not continue to break through, but if he broke through too quickly, it would easily cause his foundation to become unstable. This was what Ling Xiao did not want to see the most. Chapter 398. Ling Xiao felt as if his life source had been broadened, becoming stronger and stronger. His entire body began to emit a vigorous vitality. The joy of life slowly flowed in Ling Xiao's heart, making him almost understand the concept of life source. When Ling Xiao opened his eyes, it was like the light of the beginning of time in the chaos, illuminating everything. The light bloomed, and the divine light became eternal. Ling Xiao leaped up, his entire body filled with incomparably powerful strength. He clenched his fists slightly, and the void emitted an explosive sound. Ling Xiao's current strength was more than 10 times stronger than before. In terms of physical strength alone, my current physical strength can kill a king. Coupled with the power of the Sky Devourer sword, in this longevity heavenly palace, even the king of Nirvana can be killed with a single strike. Ling Xiao whispered, his eyes filled with a cold sharpness. Kid, you're right. King of Nirvana, Black Dragon King, and those old bastards are nothing. A mere noble realm expert dares to behave so atrociously. Such people would have been beaten to death in the War God continent long ago. This emperor will help you slaughter them one by one. The old goat's voice sounding high-spirited. After devouring and refining 10 longevity fruits, the old goat's Tao injuries had mostly recovered. Now, he still looked like a black goat, but his body had become larger, like a black lion. His entire body was glossy like silk, and his entire body emitted a dangerous aura. However, that goat's face looked more and more like a human face. His small eyes were slightly narrowed, flashing with golden light. He grinned with white teeth, looking very wretched. Recovered to King Realm battle strength? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback, and then he was overjoyed. The old goat's battle strength was very strong, and his attainments in the Sky Devourer's secret technique even surpassed Ling Xiao's. He loved to launch sneak attacks, and many supremes in his previous life hated him to the bone. Recovering to King Realm battle strength meant that the old goat was at least an existence invincible in the same realm. It was indeed very easy to deal with King of Nirvana and those bastards. That little phoenix girl is in trouble. Do you want to help her? The old mountain goat was about to boast when he saw a ball of light in front of him from the corner of his eyes. Within the palace, there were countless precious Dao treasures floating in the air. The Phoenix Maiden and Ji Shuiyao seemed to have obtained an incredible Dao treasure. They were being pressured by the sun god, and the atmosphere was tense. A battle could break out at any moment. Let's go. They won't be able to take any of the treasures in the heavenly palace. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a cold glint flashed across his eyes. The moment they entered the Longevity Heavenly Palace, everyone went crazy. Treasures could be found everywhere within the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Surprisingly, the ground was paved with peerless spirit stones while the stone pillars within the palace were made from 10,000-year-old warm jade. Even the tables, chairs and cabinets were made from peerless spiritual wood. Seeing that, the blood of the cultivators there surged and they wanted nothing more than to plunder everything there. Unfortunately, there were magic arrays within the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Thus, they were incapable of taking it away. But after entering the fifth palace, they were stunned. The spiritual crystals within the spiritual palace formed a river that floated in the air. There were hundreds of millions of spiritual crystals. Other than that, there were also countless heavenly and earthly treasures, as well as all sorts of precious spiritual materials for refining weapons, alchemy, and cultivation. Within the Elixir Palace, there were thousands of extremely precious spiritual herbs. Among them, there were dozens of king elixirs. Within the Elixir Palace, there were also elixirs that formed a river. There were all sorts of precious spiritual pills, treasure pills, and Dao pills. Everyone was dazzled by the sight. Within the Artifact Palace, there were supreme weapons. At the very least, they were peerless spirit weapons. There were thousands of treasured weapons and over 100 of the most precious Dao weapons. However, almost all of them had been divided among the lords of the Holy Lands. Finally, within the Dharma Palace, there were countless ancient jade books that contained shocking martial arts inheritances. Many cultivators were gathered there. However, those ancient jade books were covered by restrictions. The kings were also attacking the restrictions, wanting to obtain the martial arts inheritances within. This is 9,000-year-old ice crystal marrow. It's enough for me to break through to the celestial realm. I found a divinity elixir. It can allow a level 9 celestial realm expert to break through to the noble realm. This is scarlet fire copper. It's a top-grade material that can be used to refine Dao weapons. I found the 9-spirited ginseng. Many cultivators were immersed in a sea of cheers. It was as if they had been injected with chicken blood as they searched for all sorts of treasures within the Longevity Heavenly Palace. However, Ling Xiao knew that these so-called treasures were actually trash in the eyes of the Longevity sect 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, the Longevity sect looked down on the world and swept across the land. The treasures in the sect were only supreme weapons, supreme pills, and other top-grade treasures. As for the treasures in the Longevity Heavenly Palace, Ling Xiao believed that they were the leftovers from the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago. The real treasures had long been used up during the Great Calamity. It was laughable that these cultivators were holding on to trash as treasures. However, Ling Xiao also knew that even trash could be considered as treasures now. After all, they stood at a different height. These things were extremely important to the Longevity sect now. Therefore, even if they were trash in Ling Xiao's eyes, he would not let these people take them away. In the artifact hall. Originally, all the Dao weapons had been swept clean by the kings. The remaining spiritual weapons and precious weapons were only enough for the small sects to get some scraps. However, Ji Shuyao found a rusty iron saber in the corner of the artifact hall. No one expected that after the iron saber rusted, it would shine with unparalleled brilliance. It was as hot as the sun and countless people coveted it. This was because 3 words appeared on the saber: Solar Saber. The solar saber was made of solar sacred stone. It contained the power of extreme yang and was an upper-grade Dao weapon with unparalleled power. One must know that among the more than 100 Dao weapons that were divided by the leaders of the sacred grounds, there were only 3 to 5 upper-grade Dao weapons. Now Ji Shuyao had obtained an upper-grade Dao weapon. She was only at LV9 of the Grandmaster realm. This immediately attracted the greed of everyone. Among them was the Sun God. The Sun God felt that the solar saber was connected to his blood. If he could obtain the solar saber, he might be able to fight against a noble realm cultivator. At first, the Sun God said that he wanted to trade with Ji Shuyao. Later, it became a threat. The Phoenix girl could not stand it and protected Ji Shuyao. However, she was targeted by the Sun God. The atmosphere became more and more tense. Sun God, don't go too far. It was Sister Shuyao who found the solar saber first. She doesn't want to sell it to you. Do you want to take it by force? The Phoenix girl looked at the Sun God coldly. Because of the atmosphere, her graceful figure caused her chest to swell. This attracted everyone's attention. Phoenix girl, I advise you to mind your own business. Everyone knows the relationship between the Sun Moon Stars sect and the Longevity sect. 10,000 years ago, we were one family. The solar saber was left by a predecessor of the Sun Moon Stars sect. It should belong to the Sun Moon Stars sect. I'm willing to trade with the King Medicine. I hope Miss Shuyao won't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Chapter 399. What will you do if we don't hand it over? Phoenix Maiden's eyes flashed coldly as she shielded Ji Shuyao behind her. At this moment, the burly dragon child walked into the artifact hall. He wore an azure dragon robe and his black hair was loose. He said flatly, "Junior sister, hand over the solar blade. The solar blade should belong to the Sun God. Don't make this difficult for me." Senior brother Dragon Son, you're standing with the Sun God? What benefits did he give you? Phoenix Maiden's expression was ugly. She couldn't believe that Dragon Son would help the Sun God ask for the solar blade. How dare you? Dragon Son's expression darkened. Junior sister, you've already made Master unhappy by hanging out with Ling Xiao. Hand over the solar blade and pay your respects to the Sun God. Impossible. Phoenix Maiden said coldly. The solar blade belongs to junior sister Shuyao. No one can take it away. The value of a high-grade Dao artifact was immeasurable. One had to know that high-grade Dao artifacts were treasures in the 5 Great Saint Lands and were extremely difficult to obtain. Not to mention a killing Dao artifact like the solar blade. It wasn't something that could be exchanged for a mere king herb. Junior sister's wings have hardened. You dare to disobey senior brother? Since that's the case, let me teach you how to respect your senior brother. Dragon Son's gaze turned cold as he exuded a powerful dragon aura that enveloped Phoenix Maiden. How promising! 2 great geniuses bullying 2 weak girls. It seems that the so-called Dragon Son and Sun God are nothing more than this. A calm voice rang out as Ling Xiao and the old goat walked into the artifact hall together. Ling Xiao, Ji Shuyao and Phoenix Maiden were pleasantly surprised. They didn't expect to see Ling Xiao here. The Sun God and Dragon Son's eyes instantly darkened, and there was a trace of fear in them. They knew Emo Kong's combat strength very well. Even if he was weaker than the Sun God and Dragon Son, the difference wouldn't be too great. It would be difficult for the Sun God and Dragon Son to kill Emo Kong. However, Ling Xiao had killed Emo Kong in one move. That kind of monstrous combat strength made the Sun God and Dragon Son extremely fearful. Ling Xiao, you still dare to appear? King of Nirvana is looking for you everywhere. When he arrives, it will be your death. A cold light flashed in Long Zi's eyes. He coveted Ling Zhao's Dragon Clan martial arts, but he was also wary of Ling Zhao's battle prowess. When the sun god saw Ling Zhao, a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. You broke through to the celestial realm. The sun god himself didn't notice that his voice was trembling. When Ling Zhao was at the Grandmaster realm, he was already able to defeat the sun god and kill Mo Kong. Now, Ling Zhao's strength seemed to have increased greatly. The aura he emitted made the sun god's scalp tingle. Just how terrifying was he? Sun god, you are becoming more and more promising. Do you really want the solar blade? Ling Zhao stood in front of Phoenix Maiden and Ji Shuiyao. His expression was indifferent, but his eyes were filled with resplendent light. Let's go. The sun god and dragon son looked at each other. Their expressions were ugly. They turned around and were about to leave the artifact hall. The eyes of the warriors in the artifact hall almost popped out of their sockets. The sun god and dragon son could be considered the two strongest geniuses of the younger generation in the 8 Desolates region. After seeing Ling Zhao, they actually gave in? However, when they thought of how Ling Zhao had killed Mo Kong in one move, they couldn't help but shudder. This guy was a killing god. He could escape unscathed from the Nirvana King. No wonder the sun god and dragon son gave in. Did I say you could leave? Ling Zhao raised his eyebrows. A vast and terrifying aura exploded, causing the sun god and dragon son's expressions to change drastically. That aura was ancient and mysterious. It contained an incomparable majesty and dominance. The two of them felt as if they were being stared at by a primordial true dragon. Their bodies trembled, and their scalps tingled. Ling Zhao was strong to this extent? The sun god and dragon son looked at each other, their mouths filled with bitterness. What do you want? The sun god gritted his teeth and looked at Ling Zhao. Apologize to Miss Shuiyao. Otherwise, the two of you will leave your lives behind. Ling Zhao said indifferently. However, his words were like thunder that exploded in the hearts of the sun god and dragon son. The two of them felt a sense of impending death. As long as they said no, Ling Zhao would launch a thunderous attack in the next moment. At this moment, all jealousy, dissatisfaction, greed, and killing intent dissipated. The sun god and dragon son felt their backs drenched in sweat. They felt that the current Ling Zhao was like the master of a few holy lands. It made them feel like they couldn't resist. The sun god and dragon son's eyes were filled with humiliation and unwillingness. The sun god roared in his heart. If he had known earlier, he would have killed Ling Zhao at all costs. Ling Zhao stood there like a mountain. An invisible aura spread out, causing the entire artifact hall to become incomparably oppressive. He's become stronger again? What a monster! Phoenix Maiden bit her lips. She looked at Ling Zhao with eyes full of amazement. Ji Shuiyao's beautiful eyes were also shining. This young man was truly unfathomable. Every time, he could explode with shocking power and sweep through everything. Miss Shuiyao, it's my fault. I shouldn't have coveted your sunblade. Please forgive me. These 3 king herbs are my compensation. The sun god couldn't take it anymore. He bowed deeply to Ji Shuiyao and squeezed out a sentence. Miss Shuiyao, I'm sorry. This face-preserving pill is my compensation. Please forgive me. Dragon Son was also sweating profusely. He lowered his head and apologized. However, the sun god and dragon son were clenching their teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. Their lowered faces were incomparably ferocious. Their eyes were filled with blazing killing intent. Their hearts were filled with bone-deep hatred. To the proud sun god and dragon son, lowering their heads was worse than killing them. At this moment, all the pride and dignity of the geniuses were crushed by Ling Zhao. Under Ling Zhao's signal, Ji Shuiyao accepted the gifts from the sun god and dragon son. She felt like she was in a dream and couldn't believe it. The arrogant sun god and dragon son actually lowered their heads. It was clear how much pressure Ling Zhao gave them. Ji Shuiyao said indifferently, "Since the two of you know your mistake, I won't pursue it any further. You can leave now." Ling Zhao said indifferently. He waved his sleeves as if he was chasing away 2 ants. the sun god and dragon son were filled with humiliation. Their eyes were bloodshot as they turned and left without a word. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to use his aura to force the sun god and dragon son to apologize. Did this mean that Ling Xiao had truly become the king of the younger generation of the Eight Desolation region? Those two guys aren't good people either. Why didn't you kill them? The old goat muttered. Killing them would be as easy as flipping my hand. But don't you think that would make them feel worse? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There was a glint in his eyes. The old goat froze and grinned. That's right. Even if those two guys don't die, they'll live in your shadow and have no hope of reaching the noble plane in this lifetime. However, the Nirvana King and those old bastards know that you've appeared. They'll be here soon. A fierce battle is inevitable. The Nirvana King? There's no need for them to come. We'll go directly to the Law Palace. In this battle, I'll wipe out the Nirvana demon sect. Chapter 400. The Temple Hall was the most important hall in the Longevity Heavenly Palace. Because the Temple Hall contained countless divine techniques and even the inheritances of Supreme Being experts. It was the hall that the lords of the sacred grounds attached the most importance to. The Temple Hall was huge, and countless ancient jade books floated within. However, they were all enveloped by powerful restrictions, so it was difficult for ordinary people to obtain the martial techniques within the restrictions. Xia Huang obtained a mid-grade heaven-rank martial technique, the 8 Desolation Sky-Shattering Palm. That's nothing. I heard that the Divine Radiance Crown Prince of the Great Flood Ancient Kingdom obtained a high-grade heaven-rank martial technique, the Myriad Manifestation Heavenly Demon Blade. A high-grade heaven-rank martial technique? I heard that the strongest martial technique of the sacred grounds, the Jade Lake Sect's Violet Divine Sword Technique, is only a high-grade heaven-rank martial technique? The Great Yellow Ancient Kingdom is really going to strike it rich this time. The Great Yellow Ancient Kingdom's king also obtained a mid-grade heaven-rank martial technique, the Myriad Demon True Technique. Tisk TSK? What good luck! Countless cultivators within the temple hall looked at the ancient books floating in the hall with greed in their eyes. Many people obtained earth-rank martial techniques, and many others obtained heaven-rank martial techniques. This caused waves of exclamations from the crowd. At the top of the hall floated 6 ancient jade books that emitted a dazzling golden light. They emanated an extremely profound aura, and their auras were much stronger than the other ancient jade books. These 6 ancient jade books were the true targets of the lords of the sacred grounds. Heavens! Could these be 6 Supreme Being martial techniques? The Longevity sect is too terrifying. If the lords of the sacred grounds obtained Supreme Being martial techniques, they would probably instantly break through to the monarch realm, right? It's very likely. But the restrictions on those 6 ancient jade books are too strong. They've been attacking for so long, but they're still unable to break through them. The 6 ancient jade books were like 6 small suns that emitted extremely dazzling light, and it caused the crowd to be extremely tempted. The sun god and Long Zi arrived at the temple hall and reported Ling Zhao's appearance to the lords of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, and Nirvana King. What? That little bastard actually dares to show himself? Nirvana King's eyes flashed with killing intent as he spoke coldly. That's right, Lord Nirvana King, that little bastard Ling Xiao said that he would personally come to the temple hall to challenge you. The sun god's eyes flashed as he said slowly. Challenge me? Very good. Fellow Taoists, please continue. I'll be right back. This time, I'll definitely slaughter this little bastard. King of Nirvana was so angry that he laughed. He temporarily gave up on attacking the restrictions. After all, the restrictions of the 6 jade stone books were too strong. He wouldn't be able to break them in a short time. He was prepared to go to the artifact hall and kill Ling Xiao to vent his anger. Old bastard, this emperor is already here. Today, not only you, but all the bastards who forced Ling Xiao will die. The old goat's proud voice echoed as he walked into the temple with Ling Xiao. Everyone shuddered as they watched Ling Xiao and the old goat walk in. Their eyes revealed a trace of surprise. Ling Xiao had killed Mo Kong with a single move, causing the Nirvana King to hate him to the bone. Everyone thought that Ling Xiao had used some special method to leave the longevity mystic realm. Who would have thought that this brat was still here? Was he not afraid that the King of Nirvana would kill him? The King of Nirvana looked at Ling Xiao, who was walking in. The killing intent in his eyes was extremely intense. His body exuded a powerful aura as he was about to attack Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao didn't even look at the King of Nirvana. His gaze landed on the 6 jade stone books, and a trace of nostalgia appeared in his eyes. The restrictions outside the 6 jade stone books were extremely strong. Not to mention a noble realm expert, even an emperor realm expert would find it difficult to break them. Ling Xiao could feel that the 6 jade stone books contained shocking techniques. This was the foundation of the longevity sect, and it was also the foundation for the longevity sect to rise again. I advise you, if you don't want to die, don't move. Ling Xiao's voice was very faint. He glanced at the King of Nirvana with a calm expression. "Pa, little bastard, don't try to bluff. Today you will definitely die. No one can save you." The King of Nirvana hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. He walked over with majestic steps. His entire body was majestic, and the pressure of a king suppressed Ling Xiao. His killing intent was extremely intense. "If you don't believe me, you can take a look at your primordial spirit. You're about to die, and you still dare to be arrogant in front of me." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes flickered with a sharp light, and he had a calm demeanor. Primordial spirit? The King of Nirvana's eyes flashed. However, when he saw the primordial spirit in his sea of consciousness, his expression changed drastically. The King of Nirvana's primordial spirit was covered in a layer of faint 7-colored light. It looked extremely demonic. The 7-colored light seemed to contain a corrosive force that was slowly invading the primordial spirit, causing it to emit a sense of decay. "Little bastard, did you do this to my primordial spirit?" The King of Nirvana's eyes revealed a hint of shock and anger. The 7-colored light in his primordial spirit made him feel the threat of death. Moreover, no matter what he did, he couldn't do anything to the 7-colored light. Not only the King of Nirvana, you can also take a look at your primordial spirits. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as his gaze landed on the lords of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, and the others. "What?" Their expressions changed as they hurriedly checked their sea of consciousness. Indeed, they also found the 7-colored light around their primordial spirits. The lords of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, and Nether King's expressions changed drastically. Although Ji Feishuan was also affected by the 7-colored light, a hint of a smile appeared in her eyes as she looked at Ling Xiao thoughtfully. "Ling Xiao, what exactly is this 7-colored light? What are you trying to do?" Even the lords of Yin Yang could not remain calm as they stared at Ling Xiao and asked coldly. "Soul-dispersing light." Ling Xiao smiled faintly and did not hide anything. Soul-dispersing light is a type of poison that targets the primordial spirit. It has no form and is made from the soul poison of the extraterritorial demons. If the soul-dispersing light touches you, your primordial spirit will rapidly wither within 3 days. Your soul will scatter, and you will never be able to reincarnate. When the kings heard Ling Xiao's voice, their faces immediately changed. Their eyes were filled with anger. In the temple, other than the lords of the 5 sacred grounds who were in the noble realm, there were 5 other elders who were also in the noble realm. The fact that all 10 noble realm experts were poisoned by the soul-dispersing light made everyone tremble in shock. Was Ling Xiao trying to wipe out the 5 sacred grounds in one fell swoop? "Ling Xiao, what are you trying to do? Hand over the antidote. Why are we wasting time talking to him? Just kill him. I believe he must have the antidote on him." The lords of Yin Yang and Nirvana stared at Ling Xiao. Their eyes were like lightning as they contained a trace of cold killing intent. "Of course I have the antidote." Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a white jade bottle appeared in his hand. After opening it, a fragrance spread out. The lords took a whiff and felt that the 7-colored light around their primordial spirits were showing signs of dissipating. "If you want to snatch it, let's see if you can get the antidote first or if I destroy it first." Light flickered in Ling Xiao's hand as a layer of golden flames spread out. The white jade bottle looked like it would be burned into nothingness by the flames at any moment. What will it take for you to hand over the antidote? The Black Dragon Lord, the lords of Yin Yang, Nether Lord, and Nirvana Lord's expressions darkened. However, under the threat of death, they had to bow their heads. Chapter 401. Jade Lake King, please come over. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and glanced at Ji Feishuan. 2 dazzling green spiritual pills fell into Ji Feishuan's hands, emitting a dense fragrance. The Black Dragon King and the others were stunned. Through the fragrance of the spiritual pills, they knew that these 2 spiritual pills must be the antidote to the soul-dispersing light. Use the longevity qi refining technique and consume this spiritual pill. The soul-dispersing light will be detoxified. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Thank you. Ji Feishuan smiled faintly. She and the noble realm elder of the Jade Lake sect each consumed a spiritual pill and used the longevity qi refining technique to refine the pill. As expected, the 7-colored light in their primordial spirits completely disappeared. Do you want the antidote? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and looked at the Black Dragon King, Lord of Yin Yang, Lord of Hell, and Lord of Nirvana. Nephew Ling Xiao, the Longevity Sect and the Sun Moon Star Sect are family. Please give us the antidote. From now on, the Sun Moon Star Sect will follow your lead. Lord of Yin Yang looked at Ling Xiao with a warm smile. Are we a family? Why didn't you say that we are family when you forced me to give you the longevity qi refining technique? Ling Xiao said indifferently, ignoring the darkened faces of the lords of Yin Yang. Ling Xiao, what do you want? Lord of Hell and Black Dragon King's faces were pale. They wanted to kill Ling Xiao immediately, but they were afraid that they would lose their lives if they didn't have the antidote. Brothers, don't listen to his bluff. What soul-dispersing light? Let's attack together and kill him. Lord of Nirvana exuded a cold aura. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao at all costs. Lord of Nirvana knew that the hatred between him and Ling Xiao was the hardest to resolve. Even if Ling Xiao wanted to give the antidote to others, he wouldn't give it to him. Brother Nirvana, please calm down. Let's hear what he wants first. Black Dragon King, Lord of Hell, and Lord of Yin Yang were shocked. They quickly stopped Lord of Nirvana. If Ling Xiao destroyed the antidote in anger, it would be useless even if they killed Ling Xiao. Say it. What do you want? The Yin Yang Lord said coldly. He knew that Ling Xiao had a motive for mentioning the soul-dispersing light. Smart. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, Give me all the treasures you've plundered from the land of immortality, including your own treasures in your storage devices. In your dreams. The Black Dragon King and the Lord of the Underworld's eyes flashed with murderous intent. The treasures that they had looted from the Longevity Secret Territory were not a big deal, but the treasures in their storage treasures were all their treasures. Ling Xiao actually dared to demand that they hand over everything. Everyone, if you lose your treasures, you can find them again. However, you only have one life. Think carefully. Isn't it worth it to exchange your treasures for your lives? Ling Xiao smiled faintly, as if he did not notice that the lords of the 4 great holy lands were about to spit fire from their eyes. At most, we'll give you the treasures we looted from the Longevity Secret Realm. Don't be so greedy that you'll explode. The Yin Yang Lord said coldly. He had not expected Ling Xiao to be so merciless. Everyone, why are you wasting your breath on him? Just kill this little bastard and take the antidote back. The Lord of the Nirvana Lord was furious. He could not wait to kill Ling Xiao. The Black Dragon King and the Lord of the Underworld were struggling. They had lived for hundreds of years. The longer they lived, the more afraid they were of death. If they could give up everything in exchange for the antidote, they would be very willing. At most, they could just kill Ling Xiao after exchanging for the antidote. However, Ling Xiao actually wanted all their treasures. This was unacceptable to them. Since when did the lords of the Holy Lands fall to the point where they had to be threatened? Many martial artists were stunned, especially the Sun God and the Dragon Prince. Their eyes were filled with unwillingness and anger. Could it be that the treasures that they had painstakingly looted were going to be taken advantage of by Ling Xiao? Everyone, you'd better think carefully. If you're willing to exchange, give me all your treasures. Otherwise, you'll have to prepare for your funeral in 3 days. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Facing so many noble realm martial artists, he was not afraid at all. Good. Very good. Little kid, the younger generation will surpass us in time. I can't believe that I've been defeated by a little kid. I'm willing to exchange with you. This is my storage ring. All the treasures in the mystery land of longevity and all my treasures are in it. As long as you give me the antidote, it's yours. In the end, the Lord of the Underworld was the first to compromise. Although his eyes were filled with pain, he still felt that preserving his life was the most important thing. Just handing over the treasures is not enough. You have to swear to the heavenly way that you won't attack me after you get the antidote. Otherwise, you'll die without a burial place. Ling Xiao said indifferently. After cultivating the martial way primordial spirit, one would be bound by the heavenly way if they swore to the heavenly way with the power of the martial way primordial spirit. If they violated the oath, they would go mad and lose their cultivation. In the worst case, they would die without a burial place. Ling Xiao made these noble realm martial artists swear to stop them from attacking Ling Xiao after they got the antidote. Alright. As long as you give me the antidote for the soul-dispersing light, I won't attack Ling Xiao. Otherwise, I'll die without a burial place. The Lord of the Underworld was straightforward. He swore to the heavenly way right away. A strand of primordial spirit power merged into the void and a strange oath was formed. The noble realm elder of the Underworld sect swore to the heavenly way as well. Then, the Lord of the Underworld removed the primordial spirit imprint on a storage ring and threw it to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao glanced at the treasures in the storage ring. He knew that the Lord of the Underworld did not keep anything for himself, so he threw the 2 antidotes to the Lord of the Underworld. The Lord of the Underworld did not reply. After taking the antidotes, he and the noble realm elder consumed them immediately. They activated the longevity energy refining technique and the soul-dispersing light was cured in a short while. After the 7-colored light disappeared, the Lord of the Underworld heaved a sigh of relief. He felt comfortable all over, but his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent when he looked at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's storage ring contained his entire life's collection. Its value was immeasurable, causing him to feel an incomparable heartache. The Lord of the Underworld's eyes were filled with ghostly qi and divine light. He whispered to the noble realm elder. Alright, we're willing to trade as well. The lords of Yin and Yang, the Black Dragon, and the Nirvana Lord also took out their storage Dharma treasures reluctantly and removed the primordial spirit imprint. At the same time, they swore to the heavenly way to trade their storage Dharma treasures for the antidote in Ling Xiao's hands. After the lords of Yin and Yang, the Black Dragon, the Nirvana Lord, and the Lord of the Underworld, as well as the 4 noble realm elders, were cured of the soul-dispersing light, they all looked at Ling Xiao with hostility and killing intent. What? You want to go back on your words after swearing to the heavenly way? You old bastards, be careful or you'll all die without a burial place. Chapter 402. Bastard, I can't do anything to Ling Xiao, but I can kill you. The Nirvana King's eyes flashed with killing intent as he was about to attack the old goat. Come on, old bastard. Since you're tired of living, I'll grant you your wish. The old goat sneered as he stared at the Nirvana King. After recovering more than half of his cultivation, the old goat was eager to prove his strength in a big battle. What? Just when everyone thought that the Nirvana King was going to kill the old goat, their eyes suddenly flashed with astonishment. They saw the 6 ancient jade books in the void vibrate and emit dazzling rays of light as they flew towards Ling Xiao. They were like 6 dazzling suns, dazzling and eye-catching. The seal seemed to have disappeared. The 6 ancient jade books were the most important treasures of the Saint Lands. It was very likely that they contained honorable martial arts, and the aura they emitted was far stronger than those of the heaven-class martial arts. At this moment, the 6 ancient jade books were in Ling Xiao's hands. Instantly, Everyone's eyes were filled with greed and jealousy. The Yin-Yang King, Black Dragon King, Lord of Hell, and the Nirvana King were especially upset. They had been attacking the seal for a long time, but they were still unable to break it. In the end, Ling Xiao took the fruits of their labor. They already hated Ling Xiao to the extreme, and now they were even more filled with killing intent. Ling Xiao, hand over the ancient jade books. You can't have such precious treasures. The Nirvana King was the first to lose his patience. He jumped out with greed and killing intent in his eyes. That's right, Ling Xiao. We found the ancient jade books first. If we didn't break the seal, you wouldn't have been able to get them. Hand them over. The Yin-Yang King said coldly. Although the Black Dragon King and the Lord of Hell didn't say anything, they emitted a cold and powerful aura at the same time. They were determined to get Ling Xiao. Fellow Taoists, have you all forgotten the oath you just made to the heavenly Tao? If you dare to attack Ling Xiao, you might meet with misfortune. The ancient jade books were obtained by Ling Xiao. What does it have to do with you? Ji Feishuan spoke as she stood beside Ling Xiao. Her white clothes were purer than snow, and she was a peerless beauty. Her gaze was as bright as the stars, and a peerless sword intent was brewing within her. The lords of Yin Yang and the others were struggling. They wanted to kill Ling Xiao immediately and snatch the ancient jade books, but they were afraid of the oath of the heavenly Tao. Fellow Taoists, there is a high possibility that the ancient jade book contains the inheritance of the supreme martial arts. As long as we can obtain the ancient jade book, we can rely on the inheritance of the supreme martial arts to break the restriction of the heavenly oath. There is only one chance. Are you willing to let Ling Xiao go? Ghost fire seemed to be dancing in Lord of the Underworld's eyes as he transmitted his voice to Lord of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, and Lord of Nirvana. That's right. The Paragon martial arts contained the true meaning of the Great Tao. At that time, it would definitely be able to break the shackles of the heavenly Tao oath. That little bastard Ling Xiao should be torn to shreds. Our treasures must not fall into his hands. Nirvana King was the first to jump out and agree. The killing intent in his eyes was almost tangible. I agree too. Agreed. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of the Yin-Yang Lords and the Black Dragon. They decided to take the risk. Rumble. The lords of the 4 great saint lands and the 4 marquee realm elders made a total of 8 marquee realm experts. They exuded a vast and terrifying aura, causing the entire temple to tremble. Ling Xiao, hand over the ancient jade book and our treasures, and we can give you a quick death. Otherwise, I will let you have a taste of what it means to beg for death. Lord of the Underworld stared at Ling Xiao and said coldly. Ji Feishuan and the elder from the Jade Lake sect were shocked. They did not expect Lord of the Underworld and the others to go against the oath of the heavenly Tao. Were they not afraid of the punishment of the oath of the heavenly Tao? Brat, you've gone too far this time. It seems like these guys are determined to kill you. The old goat was also shocked as he said to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's expression remained calm as if he had expected these people to go back on their words. However, there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Are you sure you want to go against the oath of the heavenly Tao? The Yin-Yang Lord sneered and said, Ling Xiao, as long as you obtain the sovereign's inheritance in the ancient jade book, what's the oath of the heavenly Tao? For the sake of the relationship between our families, hand over everything and I'll leave you with an intact corpse. There's also the longevity fruit tree. Little bastard, your cultivation has increased so quickly. You must have consumed the longevity fruit, right? Hand over the longevity fruit tree. Lord of the Nirvana Lords still had the longevity fruit tree in his mind as he said coldly. Ling Xiao's expression was calm. Do you really think you have me in your hands? Young man, blame yourself for being too arrogant. So many people from the Myriad Beasts sect died in your hands. Today, you will pay for it with your life. The Black Dragon King also began to settle the score. The killing intent in his eyes was very intense. Ling Xiao, no matter how heaven-defying your talent is, we have 8 kings here. You will die without a doubt. Lord of the Underworld said indifferently. Among the crowd, Moon Goddess, Phoenix Maiden, Ji Shuiyao, Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and Pure Sun Spiritual Master were all extremely worried. They didn't expect these kings to take such a risk for the inheritance of the ancient Jade Book. Ling Xiao had no chance of winning against these peak experts of the 8 Desolates region. I knew you people would go back on your words and not abide by the heavenly oath. The dignified 8 Desolates region's holy land of martial arts is actually like this. Ling Xiao sighed. Blame yourself for being too stupid. If you hadn't mentioned the soul-dispersing light, I'm afraid we wouldn't have discovered it ourselves. But blame yourself for being greedy and using the antidote of the soul-dispersing light to threaten us. Ling Xiao, remember not to be so stupid in your next life, ha! Lord of the Nirvana Lords laughed loudly. In his eyes, Ling Xiao was a dead man. When he thought about how he could immediately avenge Mo Kong, he felt an indescribable joy in his heart. Do you really think you took the antidote? Ling Xiao smiled indifferently, a trace of mockery in his eyes. What? Lord of the Yin-Yang Lords and the others were shocked. Their expressions changed drastically. They hurriedly checked their primordial spirits and found that the 7-colored light had indeed disappeared. The soul-dispersing light's poison had been cured. Everyone, don't listen to his bluff. This brat wants to die, so let's fulfill his wish. Lord of the Nirvana Lord's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was the first to lose his patience. He flew across the sky and threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Black demonic chi filled the air, and a huge fist force exploded. It was as if heaven and earth would be completely destroyed by this punch. Nirvana Demonic Fist. Chapter 403. Suddenly, King of Nirvana's expression changed. He felt as if a black hole had appeared in his sea of chi and was devouring his cultivation, causing his strength to weaken rapidly. King of Nirvana was originally at LV8 Noble Realm, but his cultivation dropped to LV5, LV4, LV3. The devouring vortex contained an extremely terrifying power. Before the Nirvana King's demonic fist of Nirvana could completely explode, his cultivation had already fallen below the Noble Realm. What? How is this possible? King of Nirvana's eyes were filled with disbelief. He roared crazily as he felt a deep sense of weakness. Boom! Ling Xiao's expression was cold. His unparalleled physical strength exploded as he punched out. Golden light exploded as he collided with King of Nirvana's attack. Ling Xiao didn't hold back at all. His body of the flying dragon was completely unleashed. The dazzling fist print was like a sun in the sky as it sent King of Nirvana flying. King of Nirvana felt as if he had been struck by lightning, as if he had been hit by an ancient beast. He spat out a mouthful of blood as his face paled in disbelief. Everyone was dumbfounded as well. The scene was dead silent. King of Nirvana was seriously injured by Ling Xiao's punch? Everyone felt as if they were in a dream. Little bastard, what you gave me wasn't the antidote for the soul-dispersing light. What did you give me? King of Nirvana's eyes were filled with hatred as he glared at Ling Xiao. After all, he was an experienced Noble Realm expert. After checking his own condition, he immediately knew that the problem was with the antidote that Ling Xiao gave him. The antidote had indeed cured the soul-dispersing light, but it had turned into a demonic seed that was devouring his cultivation. As soon as King of Nirvana finished speaking, King of Black Dragon, Lord of Yin-Yang, Lord of Hades, and the other Noble Realm elders were all shocked. They also felt the demonic seed in their sea of chi crazily devouring their cultivation. Ling Xiao, you bastard! How dare you use such a despicable method? The Black Dragon King and the others all cursed loudly, their eyes filled with rage. You can't blame me for this. It's mainly because you're too stupid. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes were filled with mockery. Actually, the so-called soul-dispersing light was a lie. Although the soul-dispersing light is harmful to the primordial spirit, it won't destroy your souls in 3 days. At most, it will weaken your primordial spirits for a while. However, the spirit-swallowing pill that I gave you originally didn't have any harm. However, after combining with the soul-dispersing light, it will become a highly toxic poison that will disperse your cultivation. As long as you dare to attack me, your cultivation will be reduced to nothing in an instant. Ling Xiao's words were like a bolt of lightning. It made the faces of the Yin-Yang Lords and the Black Dragon King pale. Their eyes were filled with rage. Ling Xiao, you're despicable. Little bastard, you will die without a burial ground. King of Black Dragon and King of Nirvana began to yell at Ling Xiao. There was a trace of unconcealable fear on their faces. They finally understood why Ling Xiao was so kind as to warn them that they were poisoned by the soul-dispersing light and was even willing to exchange the antidote for treasures. They originally thought that Ling Xiao was blinded by the treasures, but they didn't expect him to be so cunning. His real goal was to make them consume the spirit-swallowing pill that would disperse their cultivation. The kings couldn't be blamed for not discovering the mystery of the spirit-swallowing pill. It was just that the soul-dispersing light was too frightening. It made them feel as if their souls were about to disperse. They didn't expect to fall into Ling Xiao's trap in the end. King of Nirvana, I'll send you on your way first. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold. The golden light around him was unparalleled. Vast dragon might spread out like a primordial true dragon. He threw a punch at King of Nirvana. The divine light of 4 guardians was boundless. It was like a chaotic fist print pressing down, causing King of Nirvana's expression to change drastically. King of Nirvana's cultivation had fallen below the noble stage. How could he be Ling Xiao's opponent? Facing Ling Xiao now, he actually felt like an ant facing a true dragon. His heart was filled with disrespect and fear of life and death spread through him. Don't you dare hurt my sect master. Ling Xiao died. The noble stage elder gathered his strength for an attack. Taking advantage of the fact that his cultivation hadn't completely dispersed, a black sword radiance shot out from his hand. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. The 4 guardians' sky striking style was completely unleashed. The unparalleled chaotic fist print changed direction and directly destroyed the black sword radiance. At the same time, it ruthlessly landed on the noble stage elder. Bang! The noble stage elder didn't even have time to make a sound. He was directly blown up by Ling Xiao and turned into a mist of blood. Inside the law palace, a mist of blood filled the air. The death of the first noble stage elder shocked everyone. Seeing Ling Xiao's gaze, King of Nirvana shuddered. His expression was extremely ugly. However, he knew that Ling Xiao wouldn't let him go. Therefore, he cursed Ling Xiao bitterly. Ling Xiao, you'll die a horrible death. Even if I die, I'll become an evil spirit and make you unable to reincarnate forever. Ling Xiao said coldly, don't worry. You won't even be a ghost. Boom. Ling Xiao flew across the sky and struck down with his palm. The monstrous divine light split apart like a huge wave. The snow-white sword radiance destroyed everything and slashed down on King of Nirvana's head. Even though King of Nirvana tried his best to resist and was wearing a defensive doctrine artifact armor, how could he be Ling Xiao's match? After King of Nirvana resisted with all his might for a few rounds, he was cut in half by Ling Xiao. Even his primordial spirit was devoured by the sky-devouring golden lotus. His soul was completely destroyed and he couldn't even be a ghost. In an instant, Ling Xiao had killed 2 kings in a row. This shocked everyone in the law palace. Lord of Yin Yang, Black Dragon King, Lord of the Underworld, and the others all paled. Their eyes were filled with despair. Ling Xiao's combat strength was now overwhelming. Even if their cultivation hadn't fallen, Ling Xiao might be able to fight with them, let alone now that their cultivation had fallen below the noble realm. Ji Shuiyao, Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, Chunyang Spiritual Master, and the others all looked extremely excited after being shocked. Who was King of Nirvana? The sect leader of Nirvana Demon Sect, one of the most powerful people in the 8 Desolation region, had died in Ling Xiao's hands just like that. Such a peerless young man had completely risen and shone with dazzling light that attracted everyone's attention. The Moon Goddess and Phoenix Lady both showed signs of struggle in their eyes. Lord of Yin Yang and Black Dragon King had offended Ling Xiao greatly, but the Moon Goddess and Phoenix Lady were indebted to them. The Moon Goddess and Phoenix Lady wanted to plead for Lord of Yin Yang and Black Dragon King, but they didn't know how to say it to Ling Xiao. Black Dragon King, it's your turn. Chapter 404. Ling Xiao, I'm sorry. I won't complain if you kill me. But please spare the disciples of the Wan Shou sect. They're innocent. The Black Dragon King's face instantly aged a lot, revealing a pleading expression. Phoenix Girl, why don't you plead with young Master Ling on behalf of our sect master? Do you really want to see the Wan Shou sect destroyed? The Noble Realm Elder looked at the Phoenix Girl anxiously. He treated the Phoenix Girl as the savior of the Wan Shou sect. Ling Xiao, I'm willing to exchange my life for the lives of the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect. I hope you won't kill the innocent. I'll kill myself now. The lords of Yin and Yang also stood up and said righteously. Ling Xiao, don't be soft-hearted. These guys aren't good people. When they recover their cultivation, they'll definitely come after you. In my opinion, you should just kill them. Why waste your breath on them? The old goat sneered. It had already blocked the entrance of the temple and no one dared to escape. A few experts from the Terminator Demon sect had tried to sneak out, but they were all kicked to death by the old goat. Everyone knew that the old goat was not to be trifled with. It was likely that it was a demon king who hadn't transformed. They gave up on the idea of escaping. Attack! Just as the Black Dragon King and the Yin Yang Lord were begging for mercy, the two seemed to have discussed it beforehand. Buzz. A resplendent ancient book emitted dazzling divine light as it flew towards Ling Xiao. It was so fast that it seemed to contain an entire world. The ancient book opened and enveloped Ling Xiao. Unparalleled divine chains of order intertwined and turned into streaks of blazing sword radiance that pierced through everything. Kill! The Black Dragon King and the Yin Yang Lord's faces instantly turned ferocious. They took out their powerful doctrine weapons and unleashed their invincible might towards Ling Xiao. Let's attack together and kill Ling Xiao. The Black Dragon King, the Yin Yang Lord, and all the experts from the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wan Shou sect were stunned. They then used their powerful martial arts at the same time and attacked Ling Xiao. This is the ancient treasure, the Book of Luo. Ling Xiao has already been restrained. As long as we kill Ling Xiao, the treasures on his body will belong to everyone. In order to motivate everyone, the Yin Yang Lords and the Black Dragon King shouted loudly. Everyone's eyes were red with envy. They were attracted by the treasure and attacked Ling Xiao recklessly. Moon Goddess and Phoenix Maiden's faces turned pale instantly. They had originally wanted to plead for mercy on behalf of the Black Dragon King and the Yin Yang King, but the two of them had ulterior motives. They had used words to numb Ling Xiao, then took out powerful treasures to suppress Ling Xiao, and finally gathered everyone's strength to kill Ling Xiao. How could a noble plain cultivator, the leader of a holy land, be willing to die like this? Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, and the others were also extremely worried. They wanted to help, but were quickly stopped by a few half-noble realm experts. A bunch of despicable and shameless bastards. Ji Feishuan's eyes were filled with anger. However, her cultivation base had also fallen. Ling Xiao had caused Ji Feishuan to suffer an undeserved calamity in order to trick the Black Dragon King and the others. At this moment, she wanted to help, but she realized that she was powerless. A trace of disdain appeared in the old goat's eyes. A bunch of despicable bastards. Do they really think that Ling Xiao is so easy to kill? However, the old goat was quickly attracted by the Book of Luo. This was because the river diagram on its body was emitting a brilliant light. It faintly resonated with the Book of Luo. The river diagram and the Book of Luo are the two greatest treasures of the Black Tortoise Sovereign. Could this Book of Luo be the legendary Book of Luo? The old goat's eyes began to shine. Its small eyes rolled around as it was thinking about the Book of Luo. Boom! In the dazzling light, divine chains of order intertwined. Countless powerful weapons, dazzling sword radiance, and fist force came crashing down, trying to kill Ling Xiao. However, in the next moment, the Black Dragon King's expression changed. This was because he did not know when Ling Xiao had appeared behind him. How did you? Before the Black Dragon King could finish his sentence, Ling Xiao's fiery fist force exploded and shattered his heart. At the same time, it devoured his primordial spirit. The Black Dragon King's body exploded into pieces. His flesh and blood flew everywhere. Ling Xiao walked out of it without a change in expression. He charged towards the other noble realm cultivator of the Wan Shou sect. What? The lords of Yin Yang's expression changed drastically. Wasn't Ling Xiao imprisoned by the Book of Luo? How could he appear behind the Black Dragon King and kill him? Never in his dreams would he have thought that Ling Xiao's breakthrough this time had transformed his secret teleportation technique. He could now create illusions with light and shadow. Even noble realm cultivators could not see through him. Ling Xiao had already sensed that the Black Dragon King and the lords of Yin Yang were up to no good. Therefore, what he left behind was only an illusion. Boom! The other noble realm elder of the Wan Shou sect was also killed by Ling Xiao. He could not even take one hit. In the bloody mist, Ling Xiao's expression was calm. He walked towards the lords of Yin Yang. His aura was as vast as the ocean. Everyone was stunned. The god of sun and the son of dragon could not believe their eyes. They began to panic. Now that the Black Dragon King was dead, who could stop Ling Xiao? The old goat took advantage of the moment when everyone was stunned. He turned into a ray of light and snatched the Book of Luo. After examining it carefully, he beamed with joy. The Book of Luo was indeed the legendary Book of Luo. However, like the river map, it was much more damaged. The old goat casually blocked the door of the temple and began to refine the Book of Luo. Ling Xiao, you will die a horrible death. The lords of Yin Yang's expression was extremely ugly. They shouted at Ling Xiao with unconcealable fear in their eyes. Boom! However, Ling Xiao did not waste time talking to them. He punched out and an unparalleled force exploded. The lords of Yin Yang and the noble realm elder exploded. The moon goddess sighed softly. She wanted to plead for the lords of Yin Yang, but she could not say anything. In the blink of an eye, 6 noble realm cultivators were killed by Ling Xiao. On the other hand, the lord of the underworld and the elder in the noble plane did not show any signs of panic on their faces. There was a strange light flickering in their eyes. They seemed to be surrounded by a layer of black ghostly qi that filled the entire temple. Ling Xiao, you can't kill me. Pa. Not only can you not kill me, but all of you will die. From today onwards, the Sun Moon Stars sect, the Wan Shou sect, the Terminator Demon sect, and the Jade Lake sect will be removed from the list. From now on, the 8 Desolates region will belong to the Underworld sect. The Lord of the Underworld laughed maniacally. Black ghost chi spread out from his body. His body instantly exploded, revealing a black skeleton. Only the ghost fire in his eyes danced. Rumble! Chapter 405. Yellow Springs Rising Dragon Grand Array? Lord of the Hades, so your real goal is to release the extraterrestrial demons from the secret land of longevity. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. You know about the extraterrestrial demons? From today onwards, the lords in the secret land of longevity will come out. At that time, the 8 Desolates region will crawl under the feet of the Hades sect. Ling Xiao, you can't kill me, but you have to die. Pa. The Lord of the Hades laughed loudly. All the disciples of the Hades sect took off their black robes, revealing their skeletal bodies. They looked eerie and terrifying. The expressions of the surrounding warriors changed drastically. Originally, everyone thought that the Lord of the Hades sect would die in Ling Xiao's hands like the Black Dragon King, the Lord of Yin Yang, and the Lord of Nirvana. Who knew that such a change would happen? Why were the disciples of the Hades sect all skeletal bodies? Sensing the longevity heavenly palace shaking, boundless death energy from the Yellow Springs began spreading out and a sense of unease rose up within everyone's hearts. Boom! The disciples of the Hades sect were the first to attack. The ghostly sabers and swords in their hands, as well as the ghostly flames that they spat out from their mouths, instantly slaughtered a large number of warriors. Lord of the Hades, it seems like you've already set up the soul morning nails. Now that you've activated the Yellow Springs Rising Dragon Grand Array, are you trying to kill everyone in one fell swoop? However, the extraterrestrial demons are not of our race. What you're doing is not a wise move. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There was no trace of worry on his face, but there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. You know about the soul morning nails? It seems like you're the one who killed Wu Ji. Little bastard, I'll make you pay for Wuji's death today. The elder standing beside the lord of the Hades sect was filled with ghostly energy. His eyes were burning with rage. He instantly understood that Mo Wuji's death in the royal capital and the failure of the mission was most likely Ling Xiao's doing. Otherwise, Ling Xiao would not have been able to reveal the secret of the soul mourning nails. Elder Mo, there's no need to talk nonsense with him. This little bastard will definitely die. The lord of the Hades sect sneered. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Rumble. The entire Longevity Heavenly Palace began shaking violently and countless runes shone with a dazzling light, seemingly on the verge of breaking apart. At this moment, in the Longevity Secret Realm, the 28 morning soul nails were like 28 stars. 28 heavenly pillars rose into the sky and resonated with the 28 constellations above Zhoutian, emitting a bright light. The earth cracked open, and endless demonic energy began to surge. Roar! A deafening roar shook the heavens and the earth, as if an ancient giant demon was about to crawl out from the depths of the earth, emitting an incomparably terrifying aura. Rumble! Inside the Longevity Heavenly Palace, Ling Xiao fired out a punch. Like a miniature sun, a blazing astral fist instantly killed off several of the disciples from the Netherworld Order who were charging towards him. Hades King, it seems like I really have to thank you. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for me to release these extraterrestrial demons. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as his eyes shone with a bright light. What do you mean? Hades King was taken aback. Ling Xiao's calm expression made him feel uneasy. However, in this Longevity Secret Realm, there were extremely powerful extraterrestrial demons suppressed. Among them, there was no lack of heavenly demon kings. During the calamity 10,000 years ago, almost all the extraterrestrial demons who were not killed were suppressed here. Once those extraterrestrial demons were released, everyone would die. However, what did Ling Xiao mean by saying such words? Don't you want these 6 ancient jade books? Let me tell you what's in these 6 ancient jade books. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The 6 ancient jade books rose from his hands and emitted millions of rays of dazzling light in the void. Rumble. Chaotic energy filled the air, and an ancient, mysterious, and vast aura exploded. The 6 ancient jade books were like 6 mysterious entrances to the world, and 6 figures with monstrous auras walked out from them. What? The Lord of the Underworld's expression changed drastically. Facing these 6 figures with monstrous auras, he actually had the urge to kneel down and worship them. It was as if he was facing an invincible sovereign who had swept through the world. These 6 ancient jade books don't contain any sovereign martial arts, but sovereign fighting spirits. Ling Xiao sighed softly, and the light in his eyes shone brightly. Rumble. Hundreds of millions of thunderbolts exploded, splitting the endless darkness and sweeping away all the ghostly aura. The peerless aura of the 6 terrifying figures in the void made many warriors tremble in fear, and they began to kneel down. Sovereign fighting spirits. How is this possible? Hades King's eyes were filled with disbelief and shock as he exclaimed. A fighting spirit was a strange existence left behind by an expert after he died in a battle. It was a condensed fighting spirit that did not dissipate and intertwined with the heaven and earth Tao. It contained monstrous fighting strength, but it did not have any spiritual intelligence. Sovereign fighting spirits. Weren't they powerful fighting spirits left behind by sovereign experts? How could there be such heaven-defying existences in the Longevity Secret Realm? Moreover, there were 6 sovereign fighting spirits at once. The Lord of the Underworld felt that he was as insignificant as an ant in front of these 6 figures. His entire body trembled. Only Supreme Being experts could give him such great pressure. Sovereign fighting spirits? They are sovereign fighting spirits? Could these be the trump cards left behind by the Longevity sect 10,000 years ago? It seems like we are saved, ha! Many martial artists began to cheer out loud. They had already given up all hope, but these 6 supreme battle spirits gave them a glimmer of hope. Rumble. At this moment, the Longevity Heavenly Palace trembled violently. The Longevity Secret Realm had turned into a sea of demon chi. Monstrous demon chi surged out, and terrifying figures crawled out from the depths of the earth. They were thousands of feet tall, and they seemed to be able to swallow the sky and erode the sun. They roared continuously. "Not good, I will send you guys out of here first." Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. He instantly activated the great array of the Longevity Heavenly Palace and sent Ji Feishuan, Ji Shuiyao, Yueshan, Phoenix Maiden, Xia Huang, Ling Juechen, Pure Sun Spiritual Master, and the others into the hidden palace. Then, he teleported them out of the Longevity Secret Realm. As for the other warriors, Ling Xiao couldn't care less about them. The array of the Longevity Heavenly Palace couldn't withstand so many people. Boom! After the terrifying heavenly demons appeared, they instantly noticed the Heavenly Longevity Palace, which was shining with dazzling light. Incomparable looks of hatred appeared on their faces as they furiously attacked the Heavenly Longevity Palace. Terrifying demon chi surged, corroding everything. However, the disciples of the underworld sect weren't affected at all. Instead, they revealed a satisfied expression. The remaining warriors were in trouble. They screamed miserably as they were corroded by the demon chi. Some of them were turned into puppets controlled by the demon chi, and some were directly turned into ashes. Wherever the extraterrestrial demons went, life was severed, and all living beings wailed in grief. Chapter 406. When the Lord of the Underworld and the disciples of the Underworld sect saw the supreme fighting spirit, they knew that things were not going well. They turned around and tried to escape. However, a dazzling sword radiance swept across the sky. Ling Xiao held the sky-devouring sword in his hand and unleashed a terrifying combat strength. A large number of disciples of the Underworld sect were turned into ashes and killed by the sky-devouring sword. The Lord of the Underworld and the elders were scared out of their wits. They hurriedly shouted, "Your Eminence, save us!" As if hearing the Lord of the Underworld's cry for help, a 10,000-foot-tall extraterrestrial demon was shrouded in demonic chi and its face could not be seen clearly. Its terrifying palm slammed towards Ling Xiao, piercing through the void with unparalleled power. The Longevity Heavenly Palace was instantly shattered. It could not withstand the terrifying attack of the extraterrestrial demon at all. "You're courting death." A cold light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. He did not even look at the extraterrestrial demon and continued to attack the Lord of the Underworld with his sword. In the void, a terrifying supreme fighting spirit stepped forward. It was dressed in black and its long hair fluttered in the wind. Its eyes were as dazzling as the stars. Its body seemed to be able to support the heavens as it exuded a terrifying aura. When its palms slammed down, it was as if flames had erupted in the sky and forced the extraterrestrial demon to retreat. Endless chaotic chi surged and revealed the appearance of the supreme fighting spirit. It was exactly the same as Ling Xiao. The sky-devouring supreme? The old goat's eyes were filled with shock. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets. This supreme fighting spirit was left behind by the sky-devouring supreme from 10,000 years ago. Its battle intent was monstrous and it possessed unparalleled combat strength. It could kill gods and exterminate demons. Its power was unparalleled. At this moment, Ling Xiao had already caught up with the Lord of the Underworld. The sky-devouring sword was like a Milky Way falling down. Its cold light reflected the Lord of the Underworld's disbelief as it instantly cut him in half. Ling Zhao's eyes were cold. After killing the Lord of the Underworld, he had also caught up with Elder Mo of the Underworld sect and killed him. The two noble realm experts were killed. Even their primordial spirits were taken away by Ling Zhao's sky-devouring golden lotus. Their souls were completely destroyed. Rumble. At this moment, because the Lord of the Underworld had used the Underworld Spirit Formation to open the seal, the earth in the Longevity's secret realm cracked open. Mountains and rivers collapsed. Black demonic aura surged. Countless extraterritorial demons rushed out, exuding a monstrous demonic aura. "I didn't expect you to still be here." Ling Xiao looked at the battle spirit of the heaven-devouring supremacy in the void and sighed. This supreme battle spirit was indeed condensed from his transcendent magic power in the past, It could be considered one of the hidden cards of the longevity sect. Ling Xiao originally thought that in the Great Calamity 10,000 years ago, this battle spirit should have already disappeared. However, it had actually survived until now. Did Jin Sei keep you here? Ling Xiao said softly. His gaze landed on the other 5 figures with powerful auras, and a look of nostalgia appeared in his eyes. As for the other 5 supreme battle spirits, one of them wore a black robe. His eyes were cold and his black hair fluttered in the wind. Behind him, there seemed to be an azura hell floating up and down. He stepped out from the void, emitting a monstrous fighting spirit as he rushed towards a 100,000-foot-tall demon king. Supreme Azura. He was ranked 3rd among the top 10 titled supreme martial artists, a peerless powerhouse who was both Ling Xiao's friend and foe. In the longevity mystic realm, demonic roars shook the heavens, emitting a monstrous killing intent and hatred. After being suppressed for 10,000 years, these demon kings had all gone crazy, and their eyes were filled with a bloodthirsty light. Those suppressed within the longevity mystic realm were at least heavenly demon general level powerhouses. The most powerful of them were the 6 100,000-foot-tall demonic shadows. They were heavenly demon king level powerhouses. Their eyes were like blood moons as they stared at the 6 supreme battle spirits. Another 3 supreme battle spirits stepped out from the chaos. One of them was the battle spirit of Supreme Nine Nether. He had white hair and eyes like black moons, and his fighting strength was monstrous. Another was tall and had a peerless saber on his back. There were dragon roars all around him, and his saber intent was like the heavens, exterminating everything. This was the battle spirit of Supreme Frenzy Saber. The third was an old monk with a benevolent face. He had his palms together, and there was a divine ring behind his head that emitted a boundless Buddhist light that illuminated the heavens. This was the battle spirit of Supreme Bodhi. These 3 battle spirits still didn't say a word. They were wrapped in monstrous killing intent as they rushed towards the heavenly demon kings below. But the last supreme battle spirit caused Ling Xiao's heart to tremble. She wore a red dress that seemed to burn with raging flames. She held an ancient sword that seemed capable of piercing through the heavens. Her appearance was peerless, and her eyes were filled with a monstrous fighting spirit. Jin Sei, is that you? Ling Xiao's voice trembled and his eyes turned red. Although he knew that this woman in front of him wasn't Jin Sei, but a battle spirit of supreme longevity, Ling Xiao still couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. Jin Sei glanced at Ling Xiao, her face expressionless. Only her eyes were filled with a monstrous fighting spirit. But when her eyes met Ling Xiao's, he could clearly feel a trace of fluctuation in them. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Without waiting for Ling Xiao to say anything, a 100,000-foot-tall heavenly demon king rushed towards Jin Sei. His massive fist flashed with black scales, and his demonic energy soared to the heavens as he pressed down on Jin Sei. One resplendent sword light soared through the skies. In an instant, it was gorgeous to the extreme. Jin Sei grasped the longevity ancient sword, her body burning with fighting spirit as she clashed with the heavenly demon king. Damned extraterrestrial demons, you're all going to die. Ling Xiao suddenly flew into a rage. His eyes turned red and flashed with unparalleled sharpness. He soared into the sky, and the wordless heavenly book between his eyebrows throbbed as if it had encountered a delicacy. It wanted to rush out and hunt the extraterrestrial demons. But Ling Xiao didn't care about the wordless heavenly book. Instead, he instantly fused with the heaven-devouring Supreme's battle spirit. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A vast and terrifying fluctuation of energy erupted as Ling Xiao's cultivation rose rapidly. It didn't take long for him to break through to the royal realm, the monarch realm, the quasi-exalt realm, and then the supreme exalt realm. The supreme battle spirit was originally left behind by Ling Xiao. Now that it had fused with Ling Xiao, there was no difference at all. Feeling the majestic power in his body, Ling Xiao stood in the sky. Even the heavens and earth trembled before him. At this moment, it was as if all the power from his previous life had returned. Ling Xiao had once again become the heaven-devouring supreme who swept through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Kill! Ling Xiao roared. It was like a thunderclap, and the heavens and earth obeyed his command. Hundreds of millions of lightning bolts accompanied Ling Zhao's blazing fist as they shot towards the terrifying heavenly demon king. The 6 supreme battle spirits should be the final trump card left behind by Jin Se. It was to prevent the 6 heavenly demon kings from escaping and wreaking havoc in the world. Rumble, rumble. Demonic energy exploded in the sky. Ling Zhao and the heavenly demon king collided head-on. Monstrous divine force erupted, and the heavenly demon king was instantly sent flying. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.